ceux qui souffrent. C'est très important. Merci beaucoup.
Grab a mic, put the headphones on if you want.
Let me fucking move this camera.
Yeah.
I don't like how it's.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Oh,
Thank you.
It's delayed on the left side, the right side. Right.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna tweet out the link.
You want to turn those lights off in the back?
Yeah. They look shitty.
I think they're washing there.
That was just like mild.
Oh, I think it might actually be a bad idea to turn those off.
Yeah, the lighting is gonna have to be the next step.
Yeah, you need a bright ass light right here.
Yeah, yeah. When I bought that thing, I thought it'd be bright as shit.
Oh yeah, you're gonna need like something that's like hurting your eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you want this camera close.
Yeah, it's just not very wide. I want to get it close. It's just not wide enough.
Ledom Deputy is the center of the kickboxing universe for one night as the world's champion shines
Is this
in
the
the
light
city
right
of
here?
lights
No, it's the
for
camera.
Glory 88 Paris. Tonight, a dominant women's champion calls it a career in her fourth defense of the belt, and one of the legends of the sport returns to France for the first time in over a decade in a Grand Prix qualifier with a chance at $500,000. All of our bouts tonight sanctioned by Ledom Deputy. Are you ready for glory?
I'm ready for glory.
We begin in the welterweight division in a bout scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds. His talents have taken him to Thailand to compete in Muay Thai. Please welcome Ilyas Shakir. So Ilyas Shakir will have a very vocal crowd behind him tonight as he represents Morocco. And this is a rematch from 1 year ago, and this man was your winner, Joe. Yeah, I mean, he's a very tall fighter, very technical, uses his eyes very well. You know, he's got some great punch-to-kick combinations, so I'm excited to see how
When I
he
have more
performs
time, I'm
tonight.
gonna start making sweet thumbnails for these fucking videos, dude. When you don't post a thumbnail and you go live, it's just like a red square or some shit, but okay, I'm gonna fix that. Man, that looks
I just want to watch us.
yeah. That looks way better.
Please welcome Jagili Kamara.
Are those lights dimmable?
The ones behind you?
Yeah.
I wish.
No.
Dude. They're outside lights. I was gonna put them outside on the deck. Well, they were for my wife, but I stole them. But I was trying to make it something in here.
That's good as it's gonna get right now.
Yeah.
You want to throw that on the other side for me? Let's. This light's in the way. You want to just move? No. Yeah, keep it. Yeah, just move it over to the right. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Sweet. Yeah, it's work. Yeah, it works for me.
I can move this TV too.
No, it was perfect. Yeah. I don't know anybody about the kickboxers. I haven't been watching it stuff for a long time.
Dude, that's the best part. You know what I mean? You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know who's a fucking savage and who's not. All right, let's hear this. Got these on. All right.
Ooh.
Turn us up. Can you hear yourself good?
Hey.
I don't know what the fuck's wrong with these headphones.
Additional points are deducted for knockdowns or rule violations. You'll see the scores on the screen after each round. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout scheduled for three 3-minute rounds.
All right. Technical difficulties. We don't got to wear the headphones. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
well, it's nice to hear yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially doing it by myself and nobody like fucking monitoring it. Like if something goes out, if I'm not wearing these, I'll have no idea. Like the last podcast, like shit was fucked up and I had no idea.
I don't care how entertaining something is if it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I know. That's the worst part.
I'm out of.
That's why I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm getting this. Here we go.
You ever been needing in the liver really hard,
No, not need.
or kicked, or punched?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been punched in the liver really hard. Not need.
Did you cry?
I almost passed out. The fucking wall started
Oh,
closing.
really?
in. Yeah, dude. I was like a knockout from a liver shot. I couldn't believe it.
There's been a couple times. You know, I don't know how long I've been fighting since 2005, so 18 years.
Holy shit.
And there's been 2 or 3 times where I've got a really gnarly liver shot.
Sure.
And how it like
In training or in a fight?
never in an actual fight. It was in
Okay.
training. Sparring so hard you can't tell the difference
Yeah.
between that and a fight. You're
Yeah.
but getting hit really hard in it, and then your entire body gets weak. You feel like your lanes instantly fill with lead.
Yeah.
And you don't
absolutely.
Yeah, you just want to crumple like you.
Absolutely. I'm just tweeting out this link, seeing who will show up.
I was gonna bring some DMT, but
Going deep.
yeah, I just forgot it.
Okay, there we go. There we go. You see the fights enough?
Yeah, I see him. Yeah,
good.
I'm confused why the black guy has white gloves and the white guy has black gloves.
They always do that.
That's
I swear they do that shit on purpose. They always do that.
so. How long you been fighting? Been training?
I started boxing at the. I can barely fucking hear myself all of a sudden. I started boxing at the Kelso Boxing Club when I was 12 years old. And then, what the fuck? Something's going wrong with my headphones. And then I joined Arsenal way back in the day. That thing keeps fucking shutting
What
off.
the
dude.
shit dick is that about? I'm not coming here again. Oh, is that no, that I'm wondering if it's getting too hot. There's like some no. Yeah, I don't know. It's a problem with getting some from Amazon.
Yeah, dude, this fucking TikTok light. Anyways, I started boxing at the Kelso Boxing Club when I was 12, and then joined Arsenal when I was 15. And then Juggernaut when I was 20 or 21.
I wasn't mean to you at Arsenal, was I?
Mm-mm.
All right.
From what I remember, you were like the guy that everybody looked up to.
For
At least us younger guys. Because you had like the long curly hair and everybody knew you fought and you were a badass. So everybody kind of was almost like too intimidated to talk to you. At least for the younger guys.
I'm glad that you said I wasn't an asshole.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
Dizzy. He dizzy. So the black guy assaulted the white guy with a head kick.
That guy is not white, dude.
Yellow, brown. What'd
He's
you call
got to
him?
be Moroccan or something. He's got like a gray to him.
Moroccan? You can tell he's Moroccan. Oh, there's DJ. Is that no? It's not DJ. They all them short black guys look the same.
What's crazy is he's ranked number 10 kickboxer in the world at welterweight, and we have no idea who he is.
This guy right here.
Yeah, he's ranked number 10. That's what it just said. He's ranked number 10.
I don't know. I feel like you're trying to embarrass me or something. With that.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, it's crazy how UFC is so popular in America, and the majority of the time, like casuals just want to see you stand and bang, but kickboxing is so fucking entertaining. I think it's 3-minute rounds too.
Yeah.
So they just go fucking all out, and it's crazy how Glory just isn't as popular as anything else. It's more exciting than boxing, and the way it's sanctioned, it's almost more exciting. It can be more exciting than the UFC.
Yeah, I haven't watched kickboxing in a long time, and I don't I can't fortify what you're saying or but this is exciting right here.
Absolutely.
Like what I'm watching right now.
Absolutely.
No, it's also kind of weird that kickboxing's never really caught on in America.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, it seems like as a casual, from a casual standpoint, it seems like it would be just as exciting at least.
So with like the UFC and having MMA become as big as boxing, or I don't know what that means, but like becoming mainstream, people watching it and whatnot,
Yeah.
and it's popular. I guess you just haven't had a force a company like the UFC in kickboxing to promote it.
Yeah,
The
as far as
market-
marketing wise,
yeah, the market, yeah.
Absolutely. Which seems odd to me, because it seems like if Glory really did a push, you got guys like Israel Adesanya, who's a champion, Alex Pereira, he's so excited to watch in the UFC. Those guys all fought in Glory before they got in the UFC.
And even back in the day before them, like Semi Schilt,
Yeah,
these
exactly.
like old school guys that were, I think Gary Goodridge, like
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I love watching Glory fights.
I don't watch them unless somebody invites me there, or like if somebody I love, like Badahari's fighting.
Yeah,
which I'm
hell yeah,
surprised
dude.
I like every few months I'll look up like Badahari or look up some of my favorite kickboxers that are still active and see if they're having a fight coming up or whatever.
Yeah. What's cool to me is Alistair Overeem just fought in Glory. So even when guys are done,
that's what I'm talking.
even when guys are done with UFC, they go back to kickboxing.
How'd he do?
He fought Badr Hari. He beat him.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Because Badr beat him back in the day. He got redemption on him, but he did get dropped once or twice.
It was a 1-for-1.
close.
It was a what would you call that? When you have a third match between the two,
A rubber match.
a rubber match. Yeah.
That's right. It's been a minute now, but is welterweight 170 in kickboxing as well?
Man, you're asking the wrong person.
Because the weight class, like a
look
welterweight in
big.
the UFC is totally different weight than a welterweight in boxing, but I'm pretty sure it's like the same as the UFC weight classes.
The guy's not doing good.
I always wonder that, and then
The
they
not
weigh in,
white guy.
They weigh in like kilograms, and then it's like, well, fuck, I still don't know if they're 170 or not.
They have the conversion next to it. Times that by
Yeah.
2.2.
Is it 2.2? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. That's way too confusing.
How bullshit is it that we don't use the kilogram and metric system?
I have no skin in the game, so I have no idea about that.
What do you mean you have no skin in the game? You don't ever get like confused about like how many inches is like 67 feet? How many inches is 67 feet? Nobody knows.
No.
Nobody could know that off the
No,
top of
I
their head.
have
But if
no
you ask
idea.
me how many centimeters is 67 meters, you just add a zero.
Oh,
just
sure.
makes-
That's a good point.
Yeah, like makes so much more sense. Also, they base the kilogram and the foot and all that stuff off the not the kilogram, sorry, the pound and the foot off metric measurements. There's like a universal standard for the kilogram, universal standard for the millimeter, and then they use how fast light travels over this much time, and that's how they calculate the millimeter, and then the inch is like based off that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we just have some bullshit. It's like there's some king that existed at some point that was like, my foot is this long and this is what a foot's gonna be.
You think his foot was 12 inches
It's close.
back in the day? Wasn't everybody
perfectly.
malnourished back in the day? I guess maybe not a king.
He had big feet.
Clearly, 12 inches. That's a big ass foot.
Size 12, right?
I don't know. Is
that
it?
how that works?
I don't think so, but it might be.
No, I think it is how it works.
It very well could be. I have no clue. Why
Let's
are these
measure our feet.
headphones all of a sudden too fucking big? I don't remember how to fix these headphones. Drive me crazy. You adjust yours to your head?
I just have a perfectly shaped head for these
Just put it on?
headphones.
Yeah, dude. I thought I did too until now.
What's going on?
I can't get them to open like move. They gotta adjust somehow, right?
It looks like there's a locking mechanism right here.
Are you serious?
I don't know.
I don't. I think they're just supposed to like crash your head. I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I thought. They feel too long, but they look like they're short already. I don't know. It makes no sense.
Oh, I'm gonna break them.
They came with the microphones. I feel like I'm probably just wearing it wrong. It feels like it fits now. I don't know what you did, but you fixed it.
Yeah. So you'd say your background's boxing?
I mean, I guess I was 12 years old. I kickboxing came natural to me more than jiu-jitsu, that's for sure. But I get obsessed with jiu-jitsu because it doesn't come naturally to me, like as natural as kickboxing did.
What do you mean you get obsessed with it because of that?
Just like I feel like I can learn moves in kickboxing and combinations and stuff. I can kind of pick up on them a lot faster than jiu-jitsu. Is kind of it's a lot more foreign to me, so I get obsessed with like how I can advance faster. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just can't, for some reason, I just can't pick up. Like when I watch somebody throw in kickboxing, throw a low kick, I'm like, oh, I could see how he rotated his hips and how he landed.
You can literally feel yourself doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of pick up on it. But in jiu-jitsu, I see a guy throw up a triangle, and I'll totally miss where his hips are.
You don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like- Minor details that you don't pick up on right away. I really miss those.
I think you're just dumb.
You're spot on.
No. So something similar. When I started fighting or started training, I just went straight to an MMA gym. So one day is MMA, one day is jiu-jitsu, one day is wrestling, one day is takedown, like or
So no prior experience. It's just straight in MMA.
beating the fuck out of people at high school party fights, just being meaner and punching and elbowing and being more tenacious.
You sure?
Yeah, that's all I knew of Bruce Lee, watching that kind of shit, and this just being. I fought way before I started training, you know. Like I was strong and athletic, and I had a chip on my shoulder, and so but when I started formally training, it was an MMA gym, and so like I was saying, it was like stand up one day, grappling another day, and so I had no bad habits or I had no preference one way or another, but the grappling just made so much more sense to me.
Really?
Yeah, I just well, maybe because when somebody would punch me or whatever, like when I would spar with somebody and somebody would knock me down or crack me with a good punch, I didn't feel it felt like luck, or it felt like chance. It felt like they just caught me. It felt like there wasn't some system that they built, or there was like I could get you if I moved differently, if I bobbed when I should have weaved or whatever. But with jiu-jitsu, somebody would systematically break me down and beat me up, and I was lost. I was so lost in jiu-jitsu. And I thought jiu-jitsu was so if you could learn how to move properly, if you could learn how to do these things, it just I've never people that were really good at jiu-jitsu made me feel so weak and so inefficient and so they could beat me up so easily. And like with people striking, I was so sporadic and so athletic that I would give even people that were way better than me a bit of a hard time. But with jiu-jitsu, no matter how sporadic and ridiculous and scrappy I was, like they would just wrap me up and beat me up. And so jiu-jitsu just seemed like the gnarliest, the most effective way of winning a fight. And I fell in love with it in that sense. Like going back to Old Man Wayne, like he's a 70-year-old man and I'm 18 years old. I'm buff and I'm athletic and I didn't think there would be any chance in hell some hunched over, slow moving, homeless looking old man could beat me up in any way. And he just murdered me. I felt completely defenseless. Like,
Is that when you met him when you were 18?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
First time I ever went to an MMA class. You have some studs there. Benji Roddick was there. Yeah. Evan Tanner, he used to be the 185-pound champion of the UFC for a second. So people from Portland and people from up in Seattle would come to Longview and train together. And so in Longview, you had Evolution, you had just savages there. And I come in thinking, I have my friend's younger brother was like, Nick, you think you're so tough? Like, you're always talking about, I'll show everybody what fighting's about. And I go, and I didn't have any etiquette of like what you're supposed to do when you're sparring and like the level. And so I go into sparring. I'm doing all these classes, doing all these transitions and these drills and stuff. I'm like, this is gay. This is dumb. I'm waiting for sparring. I go to spar, and I'm trying to kill people in sparring. I'm a complete asshole. I don't realize I'm being an asshole, but I'm being an asshole. And everybody murders me. If I try to hit you as hard as I can, whoever I'm fighting start swinging back, and these guys and just beat me up. They beat me up ruthlessly. Girls beat me up. Everybody beats me up, and I get done getting my ass kicked by everybody, and I'm just like really confused about like myself, like my image of myself. It was like a really profound moment in my life, and then I'm getting ready to leave. I'm sweating. I'm sitting on the side of the mat, and then old man Wayne shows up, which he always does. He shows up at the very end of class to wrestle people. He doesn't want to do all that drilling shit. And he's like, oh, he sees me, my muscles, like me sweating. I'm young and youthful. And he wants to steal it from me. And so he's like, hey, piece of shit, come beat me up. And I'm like, what the fuck are you like? Anyways, he grabs my hand. I'm sitting on my butt, and he grabs me, and he has like this alligator grip with his hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And he pulls me off from sitting down. And I'm like, all right. And he's like, take me down. Just take me down. Like, you're not done. And I was like, all right. Like, I'm thinking, I'm like, I might hurt him if I shoot too hard. If I grab him too hard.
That was my thoughts exactly. But this is 15 years later.
He's just an old, frail old man, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm kind of being lazy. I'm just grabbing him, just holding on to him, and we're moving around and for a minute or so, and he's getting bored, and then he just fucking tosses me. He like steps, tosses me. He moves so slowly when he does it too. And I just go ass over tea kettle. I'm completely off the ground. I land on my back, and I get up, and he just looks at me, and he's like ready to wrestle, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking put you through that wall. And I fucking like go to sprint tackle him, and he fucking trips me again, and I just fall on my face, ass over kettle again, smash my face, and I'm like, I'm upset. Like, I want to fight this guy. I want to beat up this old man.
Yeah.
And I can't. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to. I'm upset. Like, I'm leaving. And that was my introduction to Wayne. And I was like, and so I would see him throughout the years training, and he'd come to class, beat my ass. He was a cool dude. And then when I moved to Portland, I didn't see him for like 10 years or whatever. And I come back to town 5-6 years ago. And I always remember thinking he was such a cool dude. He was like the fucking most epic motherfucker I've ever met. And so when I saw him at Juggernaut, I was like, hey, dude, I just want to go to your house. I want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing tomorrow? Like, like, I want to be your friend. And he's like, all right. Like, I'm working on my truck. Come over if you want. And I'm like, all right. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
So you guys got reunited at Juggernaut.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm he's a cool cookie, man.
Yeah. I didn't realize you moved back to town 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, so when I started training at Juggernaut, Juggernaut, was 4 or 5 years ago, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, that's when I moved back to town.
So I think I was already going before you came back to town then.
Maybe, yeah.
I think so. I'm not positive.
When I showed up at Juggernaut, it was at it was on 3rd or whatever it is.
Oh yeah. So I was training when they were at the mall.
They moved
before they moved to 3rd.
and then they moved back to the mall.
Yeah. So the first time they were at the mall, I was training there. Okay. Oh, that's odd.
Oh no, I'm lying. So when I moved back to town, I heard that there was another gym in the mall, another MMA gym, and
right
I was
in the
like,
same place as Arsenal.
Yes. And I was like, I'm gonna show up and just pretend like I'm a white belt, like I don't know nothing, and just fuck everybody up. I just thought it'd be funny.
Yeah.
And so I go to the gym. Nobody knows I'm going to the gym. I get there and I walk in and people are like, Nick, how's it go? There's just people that know me, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, boy, you're covered.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then Jeff's there, and Jeff's like, oh, I've heard a lot about you and stuff, and
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and he was like, come train, like I'd love to have you in, like, but so I don't know how long it was, but it was just I trained there for maybe maybe a month or two, and then they moved to 3rd, and then they moved back. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, that gym on 3rd. My uncle had a gym in that same spot, and then when he moved out, Juggernaut took it over.
Was it like a athletics?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a weightlifting gym.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure before I met you at Arsenal, I don't remember if this before or after, but you were hanging out with my uncle, and you came over to my house one time and actually watched a UFC pay-per-view.
So, was it up on, but like by Butler Acres?
Yep, that was my house.
Oh,
How crazy is that, dude?
oh, wild.
I wanted to drop that on you, but I wanted it to be the perfect moment because
Yeah.
I totally remember that.
So I was helping my my buddy's kid sell some shit for school. They walk around,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
buy some stuff. And I was up there on Butler Acres because he lives up there on that now. And I was like, what house was it? I remember watching the UFC fights. Ram was there. Ram Manthe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if you know. Ram invited me over to that place, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyways, and I was like, I was knocking on this door and I was talking to the lady. I was like, I think I watched the UFC fights here one time. And she's like, I've owned this for 308 years. Like, it wasn't you. And I was like, I'm looking around and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's that driveway.
Yeah.
And then it was
Yeah.
like, get to the,
Yeah, that was
oh,
my house.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I was chilling in the basement. You were upstairs with my uncle and my parents and shit.
Your uncle is?
Lee Botero.
Oh, Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Lee.
It's my stepdad's brother.
Okay. Yeah, Lee's a fun guy. I like Lee.
Yeah. He can be fun. Yeah. Can only imagine you two getting together.
Yeah, I think I met Lee. I think maybe lifting weights.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
out at Physical Impact. Oh no, Forever Fit.
Yeah. He used to hang out there all the time.
Yeah, the man my fuck, dude. I'm so loud, and obnoxious, and shit, and like a lot of people just fucking instantly don't like me because I'm loud and obnoxious. And
Sure.
Lee wasn't one of those guys. He was like, I like this guy's energy. Like
Lee used to be loud and obnoxious. If
he
not
got
still.
me. He got me. He understood me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah. He's always been cool with me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. And then I think I knew you from Arsenal before that. So when you came over, I was like, holy shit. I was like intimidated to talk to you, so I just ran downstairs. I think I shook your hand or something, but then I just went downstairs and watched the fights downstairs.
I was super intimidating back in the day. Like
Yeah,
as
yeah.
intimidating as somebody could be. I
Well,
think.
everybody knew you were a fighter and stuff, and I was so into fighting. And you were almost like a town celebrity. At least among my group of friends who you probably have no clue they even exist, but like just like knowing a guy that fought and did well, and we were all obsessed with UFC. It was,
I was like the first. You have Benji Raddick out of Castle Rock. He went pro.
Yeah.
But I was the first person in Longview, like first person from Longview to become a professional fighter. you
okay,
know?
that makes sense. I didn't know that, but that makes sense.
Like I was the first person like fucking killing it, and from
Yeah.
Longview
Yeah,
outside of Benji, you know. Like,
yeah.
I also consciously walked around trying to be loud and obnoxious and like I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, dressing weird, being weird,
Yeah.
like making people laugh, like not giving a fuck. Like
Yeah.
no. There's like moments where like I was I don't know, rude or mean to people. And man, I feel so guilty for it. Man. Anyways, every time I talk to somebody that like knew me from back in the day, and they were like, "You weren't an asshole to me," it's like,
Yeah. You're like, thank God.
God, thank God.
Yeah. Well, when you're a young kid, everybody makes mistakes. They're just different.
Dude, teenagers are growing up. You're just a fucking sociopath, man.
Yeah. For real.
You just don't have the compassion. You don't have the empathy. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You don't visualize yourself as other people in other lives. You just don't have.
Yeah. There's got to be something contributing to that.
The sociopathy.
Yeah, it's almost like a society issue or something.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure what it is, but Can you pronounce these guys' last names?
Hamuch
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
Kroger.
Kroger, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
like the coffee. What are those flags? Germany on the bottom, Moroccan up top.
Yeah, I would. I'd concur.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know.
I think so. I honestly have no idea, but I might be spot on there.
So something I see in like yeah, if I see an amateur doing this, I know he has the thing to make him a professional. Is like when you throw a punch or a kick or when you move, it's violent. When a lot of amateurs get stuck in like a sparring pace, a sparring intensity.
I noticed that.
And then like you see professional fighters, when they start throwing, it's like their entire soul. They're like
Yeah,
goes into every punch and kick, or not every punch and kick, but some punches and kicks. They wait to throw hard, but when they do throw hard, it's violent.
yeah. And if they're not throwing hard, they're setting up the.
Yeah, they're
hard.
just there's baiting, setting up,
Yeah.
downloading the movements, like trying to find the.
I feel like I've seen some professionals that are like probably jujitsu guys that they kind of get stuck in a sparring match on the feet and they're just trying to find an opening to get a takedown or a pull guard or something. But I feel like I've seen that at some of the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, also if you're a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy and you're striking with somebody, it makes the striker so tentative so when I'm talking about
Yeah.
throwing violently, when you throw violently, you often throw yourself out of position or you're
Sure.
dedicating so much time to a certain movement that you're able to get timed and taken down and taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
And so it makes it scary to go with the jiu-jitsu guy. And you get all the wrestlers and stuff knocking out the highest level strikers because the highest level strikers using so much mental real estate to be wary of the takedown, to like always position themselves in this way and not overextend and not over commit so they don't get taken down.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
I think you just have to be so good at jiu-jitsu and wrestling that you just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You gotta throw like that person's not gonna try to take you down. And
Yeah.
then back
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you watch the Sean O'Malley Aljamain Sterling fight? Holy fuck, dude.
I thought Sean O'Malley didn't have much of a chance.
Well, dude, I'm a Sean O'Malley guy.
I love Sean O'Malley. I hate Aljamain.
Me too. Me too.
His like
No offense.
there's certain people's attitude that I just don't vibe with.
Mm-hmm.
You get kneed in a fight that doesn't really hurt you, and then you win by
Yeah.
DQ. You instantly have a bad taste in my mouth.
And then walks around like the best ever. I totally get that. I mean, I don't agree with every aspect of it, but I think he handled it wrong. But
I was to say this. I was also surprised by his post fight interview where Sean O'Malley's like, he got me. He didn't like make excuses. He wasn't bitching about it. He was like, all right, yeah, I lost. Like that was. I thought it was an early stoppage. You know, I if that was me getting beat up, like I would have had problems with it. And to not say that in the post fight interview, I thought either his coaches that are like more conscious of like people's perception of him and that whatnot told him not to fucking bitch about it, or he really legitimately isn't what I thought he was.
yeah, I thought obviously Sean O'Malley got the knockout and it was beautiful. I thought his striking is a lot better than Aljo. I think the most impressive thing to me is Sean O'Malley didn't get taken down after 2 takedown attempts against the cage. You happen to see that?
Yeah.
Aljo gets all of his takedowns against the cage. He's really good at working the cage. And he had Sean O'Malley against the cage twice with his hands almost clasped and couldn't take him down twice. Ends up getting knocked out. I'm a big Sean O'Malley guy, and I almost bet a lot of money on Aljo winning by rear naked choke.
That's what I would have bet.
But Sean is so good on the feet, and but you see him out there competing in grappling competitions. Like, even though he knows that's not his strong suit, like kind of what I was saying earlier, he knows it's not his strong suit, but he practices it so much, and he puts himself out there in like tournaments and things like that to really make those, to really fill in the gaps.
I think it's the same thing with 100% of like UFC level fighters, like those guys. Like you might see fucking Anthony Njokuani or Israel Adesanya, these Anderson Silva, like these people you think are just strikers. Go fucking wrestle them. They will.
Yeah.
They will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Because they yeah, they all take every aspect as seriously as what they're good at. You know?
Absolutely.
They're real professionals, you know? Like they know what they're weak at, they know their deficits, and then they try to do their best to strengthen those deficits and whatnot.
Yeah, Israel Adesanya is a great example of that. Fighting when he fought Derek Brunson before he was champion, Derek Brunson was taking everybody down, loses to Izzy, and then goes on a 3-fight win streak, taking everybody down. He couldn't take Izzy down, even against the cage.
I also think that disagree with what I was saying is like a lot of these grappler, or a lot of these like strikers, a lot of these grapplers will try to strike and try to like with my mentality, like I think if 10 coaches from around the world that are great coaches were to watch me fight and train, probably 10 coaches would say this guy's a better grappler than he is a striker.
Sure.
But I'll fucking never shoot a takedown. I'm gonna try to knock you the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that mentality, that like whatever you want, that aggression, that like alphaness, or whatever you want to, however you want to describe it or define it. Those guys are cut from the same cloth I am, and they're gonna. Derek Brunson knows he's a great wrestler. He's better at that than all the other things, but he's gonna try to knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like Dan Henderson's probably the best example of that. Like,
Absolutely.
he's gonna try to knock you the fuck out. He's gonna strike with people he has no business striking with,
And knocked him out most
and
of the
he
time.
will knock him. Vanderlei Silva, like there's people, yeah, and so they're not. There's too much rambunctiousness in these fighters, and you can't always get them to do exactly what they should do, what they're best at, and strategize the fights in the way. I think the best strategical fighter there's ever been is probably GSP.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and he knows he will strike with you and he will try to knock you out, but he's always looking to fucking grind you down to the ground and win the fight. You know, he's only gonna do what's gonna win him the fight. And where Dan Henderson or I don't know if Derek Brunson's a good example, but other high caliber wrestlers will try to knock you out. Will try to win the fight that way.
Yeah.
You know, and you think like I believe. Maybe not going up to a fight. When I'm going into a fight, I'm scared. Like, I think I'm gonna die. I think everybody's gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna embarrass myself. I'm scared. But like while I'm fighting, it's like I like, even if you get me with a good shot, or if you're out striking me, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking catch you. I will get you. I will knock you the fuck out. Like I'm going to catch you.
So you're a guy that would you agree with the statement like never throw in the towel because you always have a chance?
Very much. Maybe not now, being a little bit older, but when I was younger. So I had this fight against this guy named Strider Davis. He was a 2-time national champion wrestler as an amateur. And he was my second amateur fight. And the first round, I was like, I'm going to fucking knee him right in his face and take his head off his shoulders and win the fight. And so I'm moving in such a way, I'm just baiting. I knew he was going to shoot. And so I get really aggressive, making him shoot when he start bombing on people. But I'm bombing on him in such a way that like I'm waiting for the knee. He shoots, I knee him. I catch him with my thigh and not the point of my knee. He takes me down, and I try as hard as I've ever tried in my entire life to get up, and I couldn't get up. I've never wrestled with somebody in my weight that could just hold me down. And he never did any damage on the ground. He just held me down, and I was like making fun of him. I was like talking to his ear, like, "Hey, is this what you envisioned this fight to be like? Like, you're gonna get half naked with a guy and get all sweaty and rub your dick on his asshole?" Like, I'm sitting there talking to him while he's like
psychological.
he never like postured up and punched me. He would like stay really tight and punch.
Oh yeah.
And so
Jorge Masvidal would call them crotch sniffers.
I call them boring, and I don't. And they're also hard to fight. They're they
no
will,
opportunity to do anything.
He beat me in the fight. And the second round comes out, and I was like, "Fuck, you're gonna like." I start trying to bomb on him. I can see him trying to shoot a takedown, and I step back, and I'm like, "Just fucking knock me out, man. Just like here." And I drop my hands. I was just punch me, just fucking punch me. I'll give you one. And he fucking hits me. I didn't think he was gonna hit me.
Yeah.
And breaks my jaw. And he hits me, and I stumble back, and I'm like ready for a takedown. He doesn't take me down. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I go to strike with him. He takes me down and beats my ass. And in between rounds, the second and third round, my coach is like, "Oh fuck, your jaw's broken." Like it's like
Who was your coach at the time?
Nick Cunningham.
Oh, he was cornering you.
Yeah, he was cornering me
Okay.
for that. It was at the Clark County Fairgrounds. It was a big event.
Wow.
It was cool.
I'm going there tomorrow for a rock show.
What are you watching?
It's a rock show, not a rock show, but a rock.
I want to
show.
go.
It's fucking,
I wanna
my
go.
wife's dragging me to it.
I want to go.
It's fucking sweet, dude.
That's one of the parts why I like going out in the desert. I hit old mines, and you can even if you don't find like you go to a gold mine or a silver mine or a copper mine, you might not find gold, silver, or copper, but you find the ores, and the ores are like the like copper ore is malachite, and it's beautiful rock, green rock. Anyways, so I'm in between rounds, and Nick's like, "Dude, I'm calling the fight. I'm throwing in a towel for you, man. Sorry, like." Your jaw's broken. And then I look at him, I'm like, I mumble, like, it can't get any broker. It's already broken. You can't break it farther than it's already broken. And Nick's like, I don't know, man. I'm like, don't fucking call the fight. Don't call it. Don't call it. But that was my mentality. It was like, I'm going to fucking die in there, dude. And that's,
wow.
That's also what made fighting so scary to me leading up to it, because I always felt like I could die. I always like I knew people don't die too often in fights, but sometimes they do, and that's like
or go brain dead, or like we've seen in boxing
serious.
a lot. Yeah, some serious shit happens.
Serious injuries in there, and I always fought like I was fighting to the death, like, and that was my mindset.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I was.
What do you credit that to? Because you're not getting paid a ton of money, I
I
assume.
got paid no money. I was an amateur fight.
No money, amateur fight. What do you credit that mentality to? Like the hard work and training? Is it just you as a person? Like why would you want to fight to the death in there? Like as opposed to throwing in the towel, saying we're gonna heal up, come back, fight again.
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't. Well, I don't know if what I'm going to say is true, but off the top of my head is like, there's like a inborn, so when I lifted weights, or when I did these like my hobby, whatever I had a hobby in, I wanted to be the best at. That was really what like inspired me. If I got to a point, like I used to ride BMX bikes, like do X Games shit, flips and whatnot, and like when I was doing that, like I wanted to win the X Games. I wanted to be the best human being on the planet at riding a BMX bike. And when I fought, I wanted to be the best fighter on the fucking planet. Like when I lifted weights, like, I broke records. It was my goal was to be the strongest human being on the planet in my weight class. And there's like a certain intensity that I have when I do shit. It might be psychologically described as ADHD or something, like, or like there's like this like there's a certain yeah, I don't like I maybe self-image, like I always saw myself as a really tough person. Like,
Go ahead.
what's going on?
She's leaving.
Bye-bye. Is there any French toast left? No, I'm fine, thank you. Just my personality, and I don't know.
So is it like I don't throw in the towel because I can still win this, or is it like don't throw in the towel because as to be the best, if I'm the best person in the world, I wouldn't throw in the towel?
No,
Is it
no,
something
it
like
was.
that?
I believe no matter how bad somebody's beating me up, I always think I can get you. I always
Okay.
think I will find a way. So there's a part of self-belief I have in myself. And then there's another part of me that's like, I fucking don't want to disappoint anybody that's watching me. Like, it makes me like emotional even saying it. Like,
Yeah. People that put time into you, trained you.
people believe in me, man, and
Yeah.
people like, I've created an image, false or not false, or how, or some part of it's legitimate and some part it's not, but like, fuck, man, like giving up, something like I pride myself on when I would train was like, I'm gonna train harder than every motherfucker around me. I'm gonna lift harder than everybody around me. Like, something I've been thinking about recently, and I think part of that mindset comes from like back in the day when I was younger, not being liked, or not like being insecure about myself, being like people picking on me, not like I'm being bullied or anything, but just people not liking me because I'm loud and obnoxious and shit. And then I found something that people like me for, and I couldn't let go of it. I couldn't. It would have crushed me if people were like, you really aren't as tough as I thought you were. That would have fucking hurt. Like,
Yeah.
and I saying that too, like that's also what made fighting so scary to me. It was such a I was always afraid that I was gonna cower in a fight. Like I was always gonna start getting beat up and like curl in the ball and get scared, and like, and doing that in front of everybody. When everybody come watch me fight, like how tough I am and how gnarly I am, like, and then somebody just beats my ass, and I don't give a fuck about getting beat up. But if I cower, you know what I mean? Like the difference between like just getting beat up and then quitting. Like I warrior mindset. Like, and I remember always being scared I was gonna cower in a fight until I got my ass beat real. So I fought Strider Davis. He held me down. He humped me for 3 rounds, broke my jaw, but I didn't feel like I got beat up. I just got beat in a fight. And my next fight, I'm fighting this guy, Jamal. He's like a coach for one of the gyms up north. And is my story boring you?
No, I'm just trying to. You look so much taller than me. I'm trying to just fix my chair. I couldn't be.
I'm actually 7'8".
I couldn't be more entertained. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
So I
There
get.
we go.
I win my first fight against a guy that was like 10-0 or had a bunch of fights, and I'm scared for my first fight and whatnot, and I just steamrolled a dude.
10-0, huh?
He came up from somewhere up north, and he
It
was,
was a real 10-0.
fighting amateur fights, beating people up, and I don't know who I'm fighting. The day of the fights, from what I understand, Brandon Kessler had fights outside the bar so I could fight. You know, so I was 19 or something at the time, and I was gonna fight on the first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was gonna
really?
fight in the first card that Arsenal ever threw down at Kessler's, and then he was having problems with the liquor board letting underage fighters fight in the bar, so I couldn't fight for the first couple fights, and then he had fights outside, and then that was my first fight, and because I give off the fucking aura of being tough and gnarly and shit, and people train with me and they think I'm gnarly. They're like, "Oh, Nick can handle somebody that's had fights. That's not 0-0. Let's see what Nick's made of." And then I fight a guy that's good, and I just knock him the fuck out real bad with some. We strike a little bit, and he tries to take me down, and I throw him on his ass, and I start trying to armbar him. My coach is like, Nick Cunning at the time. He's like, "Don't fucking armbar him. Just beat his ass. Like, just fuck him up. Like, get some experience in the ring." And I hammer fist him from like a crucifix from a top side, knock him out, and fight's over. And so when Nick's looking for my next fight, he's like, "Strider Davis, a national champion wrestler. Like, my guy's tough.
Holy shit.
This guy's undefeated too. He's 6-0, but he's also 6-0 fighting studs. The other guy wasn't fighting fucking studs."
It seems like people go pro off 3-0. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
Well,
6-0, 10-0.
I know guys that are fucking 45-7, you know, that are amateurs still, you know, like it
Why? What's the case with that? Because I've never understood how to turn pro and what turns you pro.
So it's probably different today. Back in the day, you just had to tell the athletic commission that you're ready and convince them. You had to like say, "Hey, I've had 4 fights, or I'm this, I'm that. I've done this in combat sports, and I'm ready to go." And they could turn you down if they wanted to turn you down, but if you had a decent case, they would let you go. And
Really? So they decide who's fighting pro.
So I personally never wanted to fight amateur. I thought I was better than amateur. I thought I could fuck everybody up, and also a part of it. If I lose to somebody that's a fucking gnarly stud, it doesn't hurt my self-esteem as much. If I fight somebody that I think is a joke and I lose to them, that hurts, dude. And I didn't want to take that risk, because also if you're a fucking joke, you always have a chance of beating me. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
everybody has a chance of beating anybody, pretty much, you know, within like the vast majority of fights. And so I didn't want to take that risk of fighting people that I thought were less than me. And so I fight somebody really good in the beginning.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I always thought I should be pro. I always thought I trained with professionals and stuff, and I understood how good they were. First fight, I beat the guy up. Second fight, I lose to Strider. I just get held down, and I don't feel like I didn't get beat up in that fight. I just got held down. I got out wrestled, and I remember, funny, is I remember thinking, how much of a fucking pussy do you have to be to get in a fight with somebody and hold them on the ground and then think you won and feel like you won? I just thought wrestling was the weakest sport. I just had no respect for wrestling. And then I gained a great respect for wrestling. Like, I remember thinking Strider Davis was the biggest pussy on the planet.
Hopefully he's not listening.
I've told him this. And I trained with him afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. And if the biggest pussy on the planet beats me up, I'm the biggest pussy on the planet. If he holds me down, if he wins a fight. And so I was like, I need to start wrestling. I'll do some wrestling now. Luckily, the schools around here have some good wrestlers. Zach Hector, and there's some people that are just absolute studs I was able to wrestle with and get better at wrestling. And so my third fight.
Where are you wrestling at?
Well, I just wrestle at my house. But when I was wrestling at Arsenal, and then we were just having stud wrestlers come in all the time. And anytime somebody was good at wrestling, I was like, me and you just gonna wrestle. Like, I don't want to fucking punch you. I don't want to fucking choke you. I just want to wrestle and wrestle.
Yeah.
And I want to learn wrestling. And my third fight, I fight this guy named Jamal, which happens to be, he was a coach up north for UFC, like professional fighters. He was like, I don't remember if he's a jiu-jitsu coach or a wrestling coach, but he was a grappling coach. And I show up to the fight. I weigh in at 155. So I fought Strider Davis the week before, or a few days before, or something like that. And I talked to the promoter up there because they were like, we really need you to fight. Like, we'd like to have you up there. And I was like, yeah, I'll fight, but I don't want to weigh in again at 155 because
And your jaw's broke at this point?
Uh,
Baezo told us he has 20 friends and family here in the house. Picked up a win outside of his glory fight.
trying to think of how this worked out. I have 2 fights back to back in the same week, and I didn't have to weigh in. Maybe I'm getting this out of order.
Mm.
So I don't.
Do you remember if your jaw was broken going into the fight?
No, it wasn't. No,
Okay.
it wasn't. So that's what now so I had 5 amateur fights. Strider Davis was my second amateur fight, and obviously my jaw wasn't broken, and there wasn't a week in between. So I'm trying to remember my third amateur fight. I always remembered it in my mind that I fought Strider, and then the week later that I fought Jamal. But now that you're saying that, like, no, that's so my last amateur fight, I'm gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, I don't remember. There's an amateur. Oh, okay. I'm lying.
We got it.
Yeah, I'm lying. So I fight this guy named starts with a D. I don't remember it. So I fought in Salem. That was my third amateur fight.
Okay.
Jaw's not broken. I fight at this fight against a really, really good a fucking grappler or whatever. I know you don't know fucking who you're fighting. Somebody's gonna say you're fighting this guy, and it shit changes so much as you're an amateur.
I noticed that. People don't show up.
And so I fight this guy in Salem. He breaks, or he doesn't break. He like tears fucking ligaments in my ankle. He does it. There's no heel hooks in this promotion, and I end up ground and pounding him to fucking absolute death at the weight. Make this short story even longer. At the weigh-ins, I don't have anything but respect for whoever I'm fighting, man.
Sure.
Like, I'm fucking scared, and I understand if we're gonna fight in front of people, we can be embarrassed and whatnot. And so I have nothing but cordial and nice. Like, I might look at you mean when I'm walking into the cage, and
Sure.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. But up until that, you're my buddy. I like. There's a camaraderie I feel for you. I feel like if life was a little bit different and I met you in the gym, me and you'd be buddies, you know. And then that's how I treat people. And at the weigh-ins, Daryl Cavan, and so I'm at the weigh-ins for Daryl Cavan, and I go to shake his hand. I'm like, man, like good luck, like. And he's like, fuck you. And I'm like, I'm gonna try to fucking ruin your life now. Like, I'm gonna try to break your neck. I want your kids to fucking cry over you every day because you're fucking in now a bed. Like, and so I'm so upset with this guy. I end up getting him into a position where I'm having another crucifix. I'm on top of him, punching him in the face, and I can see the ref wanting to stop it. And I'm like, I'm just gonna act like he's getting out. And so the ref doesn't stop it, and so I can smash his fucking face a few more times. And then the ref would come in to stop it, and then I would nope. I would start moving like he's getting out, and I'd smash his fucking face a few more times. And I just beat him up real bad. Like, anyways, that fight, it was like a Saturday I fought, and then a Sunday or a Friday, or it was a Saturday and the next Saturday I was fighting. I don't remember. It was really close, but I weighed in at 155 for that fight for Daryl Havan, and I talked to the promoter for the next fight, and they're like, you don't have to weigh in. You're fighting this guy named Wolverine. He has 35 fights. Like, I'm like, cool, let's do it. I show up to the weigh-ins at this bar up in Olympia or whatever, and I don't have to weigh in, but I'm there for. It was
so you're 2-1 at this point.
2 and 1. 2-1, yeah.
2-1.
And Wolverine sees me and he's like, and the coach is like, nope, he's way too big. And I would cut 20 or 30 pounds to get to 155.
I'd imagine.
I was.
How
you
was
knew
the
I
cut?
You knew I was jacked.
Yes.
Like, and I looked like I was 200. I was 185. I looked bigger
Just
than
when you just said you weighed in 155 pounds, I was like, my memory might be off because I remember him being fucking huge.
I was fucking. There wasn't a 155-pounder fighter on the planet that was bigger than me. I was fucking monstrous.
I could imagine.
And I show up and they were like 185-pound guy, and he's 100. I don't know how he looked like he might have been 160. And he's like, nope, I'm not fighting. The coach is like, I'm not fighting you. Like,
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I fucking just drove up from Longview to Olympia to this fight. Like, no, like, fuck you, you're a pussy. And I'm like, I'm upset, and I stand in front of everybody at all the coaches and stuff. I'm just like, anybody here not a fucking pussy? Anybody here want to fight me so I can get a fucking make this trip worth it? And this guy's like, yeah. And he just slowly raises his hand. I was like, we're fighting. And then Nick Cunning's like, no, fuck, no.
Oh, he knows him, huh?
The guy's good enough for Nick to know him.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, he's been fighting in Brazil, and he's a coach for Eddie Ellis. Like, he's gnarly. He's wearing a sweater and shit, so I don't see how big. I don't give a fuck.
He like? Does this guy not fight a lot, or is he an amateur, or what's the deal with him?
So he fought when he was in Brazil or so, or he has a fighting background, and he doesn't have a fighting. He's not officially fighting in the United States.
Gotcha.
Might have been his only fight in the United States ever.
Makes sense.
And so he's Brazilian, and he's not living in Brazil for some reason because he's good enough at teaching people shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, man, this guy is fucking phenomenal at jiu-jitsu. He is fucking like, Nick, I know how good you are at grappling, but this guy's gonna fucking murk you on the. So he's like, keep it on the feet. Do not let him take you down. And we get in the cage.
So this is a 1 day notice then, right?
Oh, the
Or hours.
same day weigh-ins.
Same day. Okay.
And so
That's wild. Did you guys ever end up weighing in?
I never weighed in. He never weighed in.
Okay.
And
so you have no idea.
No clue.
What did he look like?
A couple inches shorter than me, an inch shorter than me or so, and then stockier and meatier than I was. So I'm like, I'll just fucking knock him out. I wasn't worried. Soon as Nick was like, no, I'm no anxiety. I'm just like, all right, I'll fucking knock him out. Like,
Yeah.
I know how this plays. Like, I fought good wrestlers before.
Yeah.
I saw him. The place where we're at, both of the corners, or the red and blue corner, only had one room to prepare for the fights, and so I can watch him hitting mitts and stuff. And he's like, pop, fucking like sharp. And I was like, I'm gonna get fucking hurt. And he took his shirt off and stuff, and he has big old fucking big tits on him, big old pecs, big old arms, tattooed. Maybe he wasn't tattooed, but like, I just remember being very scared, like the most scared I've ever been, and so scared, in fact, that I'm getting nauseous. Like I can get nauseous before fights, but this one I had to go to the bathroom. I'm puking in the bathroom and shit, like scared, and and they're calling me out like, hey, it's time for you to fight, and I'm in the bathroom puking. I'm like, all right, like wiping my mouth off, like, here we go, like. And as soon as I get in the cage, I'm like looking at him like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, like, but I throw a couple punches and he pushes me against the cage, takes me down, and he doesn't just like do a little rabbit punches like Strider. He's fucking trying to kill me, and he's beating my ass, and so for 3 minutes he just steamrolls me, and I remember thinking, in my mind, I'm like, I will get you. Like, I'll figure something out. But I get beat up really bad. And
What's the move? Like, get back up? Work to get back up?
I do get it back up a couple times, and he takes me down a couple times. The cage is really small. He pushes me against the cage, trips me.
I hate those small cages, dude.
Dude,
even training in them sucks.
Scary. I don't like. I like moving around. I need some space.
Absolutely.
I need some space. And so he beats my ass as bad as he can beat somebody else, and it not get called. And I go to my corner between rounds, and my corner's like, oh, he's really tired. And I look over at him, and he's not even sitting down. He's fucking standing, just bouncing, looking at me. And I was like, Nick, don't fucking lie to me. Like, don't lie to me. He's not. And he looked over, and he's like, he got up. He was getting up off you really slowly. I thought he was tired, and I was exhausted. And he's like, all right. He's like, you got to keep more range. Like, you got to, giving me all these things. And we stand up, and we start scrapping, and I catch him with a good uppercut and a hook, and I see him like do a little stanky leg, and I was like, I'll fucking kill you. And I rush, and he shoots, takes me down, and so he beats me again. Like, he mounts me, and he hits me with some shots where like my whole body goes numb, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting knocked unconscious. Like, I'm about to go out. Like, and I remember this vivid memory of like weird, like it took me out of my body almost, like where if I was trying to kill somebody, I would sit on their chest and punch them in the face until they died. I'm like, he's killing me. He's killing me right now. And I was like, gotta move. And I end up putting him in I do electric chair sweep and whatnot, and I get him in a toe hold, and I'm twisting his ankle, and it's fucking, as far as I've ever twisted somebody's ankle, and he's not tapping. I'm like, what the fuck to do?
Brazilians have rubber joints.
Dude, I'm twisting it, and my coach is like, fucking break it. And I was like, let's try to break it. And he goes, pop, and it just rips around. I'm like, oh, he doesn't even tap. He just screams, and the ref jumps in and stops it. And
no fucking way, dude.
And I end up winning the fight, and I'm booed by the crowd because he's like the hometown coach. And I start spitting blood on the crowd. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'm pissed. Like, I just gave my soul. Like, this is exactly what you'd want. Like, and
oh my God, dude. Just that story is fucking incredible.
But from that moment, I realized, like, no matter how bad I get beat up, I'm not going to cower. Like, I remember gaining a lot of confidence from that fight because I got beat. I got beat up real bad. And never did I... Never was it a question, throw in the towel or give up. It was always like, fucking get out, move.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the whole reason why I bought this thing isn't so like I could start a cool podcast and make. I've trained with you for quite a long time, and guys like Jeff, I've trained with him for years. And I have no idea who they are.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know who they really are. Like, you tell me instructions, but I know nothing about you.
I was looking at your Facebook today, stalking you. And I was like, who is... It's
an honor.
I was like, who is this guy? Like, and I saw you, like, do machine work. And, like, I was looking at photos, like, you got engaged this year in January or something?
In last July.
July. With a J.
Fuck, it might have been January. I'm trying to get married in July. I don't remember when I got engaged.
I was Facebook stalking you. Like, who am I hanging out with, really? You know,
yeah.
This what like.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
this
dude.
is a cool.
You have
This is
no
a
idea.
cool. What do you want to call it? Like an avenue or whatever to meet people and talk to them and hang out.
Yeah. Especially because I don't have a ton of time to hang out at gyms and stuff like that anymore, but I still am such a fan of the sport and miss the guys I hang out with. I feel like if it weren't for these dumb little microphones and this stupid thing right here, we would never sit down and have a real conversation like this. And even if for whatever reason we did sit down and have a conversation like this, in my head I wouldn't be able to get past the point where I'm like, I should be fucking recording this conversation. This is fucking crazy. Like, the world should know this story, not just me. You know what I mean? So it's just fucking crazy how life works, dude. This is the whole reason why I set this up. But.
When I was going to school, I was training for a little bit, and I ended up stopping. I got shoulder surgery and stuff, and just slowly fell out of like lifting weights and fighting and whatnot. And I had no motivation to do it anymore because I didn't see myself as being the best in the world or being the best, and so that was really what propelled me to lift weights and to fight. And I didn't do it for a few years, and I came back to town, and there was Juggernaut, and I just remember thinking, like, why did I stop doing this? Like, this, I absolutely love coming in and training and hanging out with everybody. And then when I stopped going to Juggernaut, there was another time where there was like a year where I didn't do anything, and I was just like, I need to make it a point. Like it's such a valuable aspect of my life that I'm neglecting. The socializing, the exercise, like there's so many good things that come from training, and I was like, let's buy some fucking mats and I'll see who I can get over to my house, you know.
I work with probably 130 people, and they're all nice guys, and it is what it is. But if you want to hang out with people that have the same mentality that you were just describing, you're not going to find that anywhere but either a hardcore steroid-filled weightlifting gym or an MMA gym. You're never going to have a bonding experience with guys on that level mentally without the gym. And I think that's the thing I miss the most is people just being like, dude, I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm going to go out there and do my best and knock this motherfucker out. Like, it don't matter. You don't talk like that at the grocery store or at work, or there's no other place you talk like that.
No.
Besides the gym. You know what I'm saying? So I miss that so much. I remember why I quit going to Juggernaut. I love that gym. I think it's the best gym I've ever been to.
They were beating up too many retards.
It was the best gym I ever went to, dude. And I remember Chase was getting ready for a fight. I was working at Les Schwab, and I was on call. So I was working 12-hour shifts at Les Schwab. I was opening the store and closing the store. I was working on log trucks and all sorts of forklifts and anything industrial and commercial I was working on. And I had a lot on my plate. And then I would come home. I had a company phone. So if anything happened to any truckers or anything outside of our hours of operation at work, I would have to drive to work. They would call me. I'd have to drive to work, pick out tires, and go change tires either on the side of the freeway or logging roads or all over the place. Because there's truckers that drive 24/7. So I would come home, and then I would get calls in the middle of the night. I would probably average about 16 hours a day just from work. I remember there was times I'd go to the gym after work.
It's too much.
I'd go to the gym after work, be fucking sparring, and then my phone would be in my bag ringing, and I'd be like, fuck, dude, I got to put my work clothes back on and go back to work, and I'd miss out on training. And then my wife was pregnant at the time. She was just my girlfriend. She was pregnant at the time. And then my daughter ended up being born.
She's not your wife yet, right?
No, we're just engaged. But
Just giving you shit.
it's easier to call her that.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to take a fight, and I was really gearing toward the fight. I was doing like training 5-6 days a week. I'd go into Juggernaut when it was on 3rd. I'd go in there on my lunch break on a Saturday and hit Jeff. Nobody else would be in the gym, and Jeff would hit mitts with me, basically give me a private. And I'd get an hour lunch break, and I'd put my clothes back on and go back to work. And I was really gearing up to take a fight and join the fight team. Like, it was all I wanted at the time. My daughter ended up being born. I was still training a fuck ton. And I fell off a little bit. So I probably was only going to kickboxing, or maybe I was doing kickboxing jiu-jitsu like 2 to 3 times a week, and I knew I wasn't fully in it like I used to be. And work was kind of just drowning me out. And my wife was giving me a hard time. She's like, I need fucking help with the baby. You're either working or at the gym. Yeah. You got to cut something out. And I couldn't cut work out because I was paying the bills, you know? So
she not working? She didn't get a job.
No, she just had another baby. We got 2 now. But we had a lot of bills, so I just kept working hard and then go to the gym part-time, essentially. It became a part-time thing. I still was working really hard towards taking a fight. And I knew I could take a fight. I just wanted to be fully prepared because I wanted a rocket ship. I didn't want to just like take a fight, fall off for months, take a fight, fall off for months. I wanted a fucking rocket ship and take as many fights as I could. I wanted to be ready at all times and take as many fights as I could. And then I was helping Chase get ready for a fight. We were all sparring, and he fucking head kicked the shit out of me, dude.
He has a good head kick.
Yeah, and a lot bigger than me. I don't even think...
Not anymore.
I at least think he was a head kick. I think it was a head kick. Because I remember opening my eyes, and I was like this. And I had to think for a second, and I just see Chase turn around and walk away, and the bell rang. The round was over. I had no fucking idea. I'm standing there like this, and he's walking away, and I'm like,
what's going on?
What's going on? And then I sat down, and I just started thinking, like, am I going to get brain damage in training? And then I got a baby at home. I got so much other shit, dude. And it really hurt, but I just had to not go as much. I still tried to pop in there when I could, but raising a kid and working full time, there was like no way it was gonna work out. So I had to stop going.
Yeah, fighting's kind of silly too.
Yeah,
Not training, but fighting.
Yeah, especially in my position where I'm like, I haven't even taken a fight yet. Like, if you're ready, go. And then I just didn't. And then I was like, fuck, dude. I knew from past experiences and things like podcasts that if you're not fully in it, then you're going to be getting hurt. Because then a position like you were in, where like if I was getting pounded on and I'm like, I got kids at home, I got to go to work tomorrow, throw in the fucking towel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I knew I was losing that. I knew I was losing that mentality, and it hurt really bad, dude, but I just had to give it up. And it fucking sucked.
It sucks.
I feel into a dad.
I feel that way. I'm not a dad, but like I feel that I don't have that killer in me. Maybe in the middle of a fight I might have it in me, but every day I train, I'm just like, I hope I don't get hurt. I just hope I don't get injured. You know, I hope I don't make the rest of my life harder because I broke a joint. You know, like I don't want to.
Yeah, dude. The thing with me is, I had to be at work Monday morning, so I knew I can't train as hard as I want to, and I couldn't train with killers like I should be, because my whole thing was like, if I get hurt, it's not like I can't collect a paycheck if I get hurt, so I gotta fucking chill. So I wasn't training as hard as I could, and things like that. But I did replace fighting with being a dad, so I'm still happy. But obviously it's not the same.
Yeah, being a dad's not as cool.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Being a dad's, it could be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun to fucking climb St. Helens with a little baby on your back.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, they come out as your best friend. They like everything you like. They look up to you so much. They're just your best friend.
You're the coolest fucking person in the world to them.
Yeah, and they do everything you do, so you think they're the fucking coolest person. But yeah, dude, giving up fighting was fucking hard, dude.
Came across this video a few days ago, talking about how relationship with your children, and how your kids, the only thing what your kids want the most in life is to have a good they just want to have the best relationship possible they can have with you. And how parents fuck that up real bad, you know, how and how easy it is to fuck it up. But like if you want, in reciprocation, if you want to have the best relationship with your kid, it's open, it's there. It's like your kids aren't very old yet, so it's a little different. But even when they're prepubescent to adolescent to, you know, growing up, like the best relationship you'll ever have in your life can be with your kids if you recognize it. Like
Absolutely, yeah. It's surprising to me that that happens, because right when you hang out with that baby and it starts growing, and it's like all you want to do is like be a role model for them, and it's a whole mentality switch. So giving up fighting was hard, but that I replaced it with something healthy. And
yeah, you gotta do that socializing, though, that fighting that has. Yeah, you have to have that in your life.
I feel like this podcast was like a wild thing to fill a void in my life, dude. I'm telling you, that's what it all was about, is filling that fight void, because I miss that so much. I would love to have Jeff on, and even like new guys at Juggernaut and shit come on and promote the gym and things like that, and get a good following. That would be fucking.
Yeah, there's some cool guys I know that I think would be fun to have.
I'm down to have anybody. Dude.
I just need people.
Yeah. I thought a lot more people were gonna be on board to come and hang out and watch fights and shit like that, but it's tough, dude. Everybody's just so fucking busy.
Everybody has a life, man.
Yeah,
and has a job, and except me.
Yeah, well,
I do my best not to work, and it's tough. It's hard. It's probably harder than working.
Well, I'm telling you, dude. People that go to work every day are jealous of that.
Yeah, there's not much to be jealous of, or it comes with its own problems. So I have
Of course.
I have
Of
a
course,
buddy that Jason that was the breadwinner of the family. He has 2 kids, a little bit older, a couple years older than yours, and a wife. And he always, always had a 9 to 5. Always, got to make. He just got a new house, and so you have to make the bills and everything. And my girlfriend, being a trauma nurse, you make a fucking lot of money as a nurse. If you do it right, you can make $200,000 a year.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, working less than 5 days a week. Working 3-4 days a week. And he's like, man, maybe like I want that. I fuck what I'm doing, drilling holes for companies, or fuck putting up walls, or all the different jobs he's had for the years. And so he's like, talk to his wife. He's like, hey, if you get a job at the mill and you work for the next few years, like I'll go to school to be a nurse, and so when he quit his job and his wife started working, he went into a bit of a depression. Like he's like, what do I do all day? Like
Almost like you lost your purpose.
you lose your identity. Like at one point, like you can feel good about yourself because you are supporting your family. You are doing, there's a lot of shit you don't want to do, but because you do the shit you don't want to do, you can feel good that there's food on the table. You can feel good that you can go on trips. You feel, and nothing will give you more self-esteem than helping out your family. But now he's not helping his family out in the same way. It's a much more like obscure way. Like, and it's a fucking struggle. Not being a producer, or going from a producer to not being a producer for your family, going from working and whatnot to not working. Like, every day I wake up and I'm like, how do I, like, there's no path that how do I make the day worth it? Like, how do I use this day to not, how do I not waste this day? And it's like, when you have a 9 to 5, like, you don't ask that question. You're in the routine of doing it, of making the day worth it.
Yep.
And so every day I wake up, I'm like, fuck, like I need to figure something out. And it's always like, I've been out of school for like 4 years, so I haven't had a job for like 4 or 5 years. And I've just been traveling and doing dumb shit, or like being free, but it's not.
I'm telling you, people that go to work every day daydream
About
of things like that. I'm not saying it's perfect. I know it comes with its own set of problems, but I don't know.
I think there are bigger problems, like when you don't work. Like hot take, like, and I think a lot of people out of like a reaction would disagree with me. But if they try to do it and not work, and let's say all your bills are paid every month, like, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. Then you have you got to create a whole nother purpose.
Yeah. And so I'm always trying to ride my motorcycle around Mexico for a few months. I want to go and have to figure cool things to do. And it's like, what's really cool about not working though is anytime a buddy needs help, painting a house, putting up a house, putting on a roof, or they have some problems with their car, like my schedule's free. Like I can go spend, and that's something I'm extremely grateful for, is putting myself in a position where I don't need to think about bills. Like it cost me $1,000 a month to live, and I have savings and whatnot that can pay that for the next 10 years. But whenever I've had a friend that needs some shit done, like I can give them all the time in the world.
That's fantastic. Because a lot of times somebody needs help, and like you said, everybody has their own life.
You don't have the time, or you don't have the resources. You don't
That's fantastic, dude.
That's the way I justify it. That's the way I justify it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Oh man, dude. There's been like 4 fights, and I don't think we watched any of them.
They were probably pretty good.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Todorovic.
You ever fought somebody or boxed somebody that's real tall?
Not really. Going to the boxing gym when I was 12.
Everybody was taller.
Well, they were usually all my size. I mean, I guess I was tall for 12, but I mean, the oldest person I boxed was probably 15. So, Everybody was usually around my size.
It was always such a problem for me.
I think you were the lengthiest guy I've ever sparred with.
so.
by far.
I'm real lanky. I'm
Yeah.
only 5'10", but like I have like a 74-inch reach, which is a pretty.
Oh wow, yeah, you felt 6'6" when you.
Yeah,
when you
I have
spar,
like
yeah.
a 6'2" or 6'4" reach or whatever. Like, but when I'd find guys that were long, and so I developed a game on my ranginess, being able to pop you coming in and whatnot, and I'd fight guys that have a longer reach, and it would fuck me up so bad. Like I just, I didn't train for those movement patterns and those habits.
Yeah.
Dude, they would give me the hardest time, man.
Yeah, because then you got to turn into somebody who's trying to get inside versus somebody who's trying to keep the range.
Yeah, and something I wasn't able to transition well into. Like,
Really?
Yeah, I just always had hard time with tall guys.
Yeah. I think it's hard. I mean, even short guys, it's hard to get inside on people. So
Yeah, I'm always like blown away when you have like a super tall fighter fighting a shorter fighter and they're kickboxing or boxing and stuff,
Yeah.
and the shorter fighter, like Mike Tyson, did it.
yeah, Mike Tyson's probably the best example.
I can't think of anybody better. Like,
Yeah, became a champion fighting
he's
guys
throwing
way-
punches like almost 90 degrees upwards, hitting people. Like,
yeah, dude. Uppercuts from the depths of hell, dude.
oh man.
I remember Stefan Struve being in the UFC. He was so much bigger than the other heavyweights that everybody thought he was just going to dominate.
When he fought Mark Hunt, Mark Hunt's
Great
shortest
example.
heavyweight and then the
Yeah.
tallest heavyweight fight each other.
Yeah,
There's more than a foot of difference between the two.
yeah.
And Mark Hunt knocks him, breaks his jaw, knocks him the fuck out.
But Stefan Struve didn't fight like he never really threw like good jabs and teep kicks and things that we see nowadays.
He also wasn't like a world champion kickboxer like
Yeah.
Simi Schilt
Yeah,
or something like that. Where you have a
absolutely.
really tall guy that honed and refined his striking techniques.
Yeah.
He was he was a good striker and whatnot, but you didn't. But also like Simi Schilt would have problems with shorter guys. Like
Sure,
sometimes
yeah.
like
Yeah. He lost to he fought Alex Piero, right?
who?
Sammy Schilt?
Oh, I don't know. Did they fight? That would be.
I might be getting them. I might be getting my times mixed
Yeah,
up.
they seem like they're just like 20 years apart.
Yeah.
But they might have. I don't know how long Alex Pierre has been fighting in kickboxing.
I'm not sure either. I know it's been quite a while, but Sammy Schilt is a legend.
7 foot legend, 6'10" or something like that.
Yeah,
like
dude.
6'11".
Yeah.
yeah. He didn't do very well in MMA.
I wonder if he ever fought in Glory. He was a K1 guy, right?
It was K1 back. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it seems like to me he retired a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pre-Glory.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too. I have a Badr Hari shirt, dude. I should be fucking wearing it.
You should be wearing the Badr
Damn,
Hari
dude.
shirt. All right, man. Him back in the day, talking about somebody like how professional fighters throw with more like hate or more
Yes.
fucking viciousness. He
Yes.
absolutely. I don't know. There's nobody I've ever seen that you can't throw harder than him. You can't
Yeah.
be more violent than that guy.
Yeah. He's a fucking. He tries to kill you. With
He tries
every
to kill
punch.
you, dude. Talking about trying to kill people, Zach Hector, I coached him with he used to fight all the time back in the day, and corner him in those fights. And he was somebody I always thought would have been a professional because he came from a wrestling background. He was like, I don't think he never won state or anything. He got injured and stuff, but. I might be getting this wrong, but from what I understand, he beat the person that won state 1 year, and then
Oh,
wasn't
really?
able to continue. But he was ultra flexible and ultra tenacious, and just a badass wrestler. And when he would do MMA fights, he would look like the biggest goof you've ever seen stand up. The way he'd hold himself, but he would take you down, and when he would start punching you, it was like you just murdered his mom. Like he was throwing as hard as a human being from that size could possibly throw, and he would he beat people up real bad. And I remember thinking like, yeah, you're gonna go far. Like you're gonna
What happened to him?
blown his ACL out 100,000 times. Like I
wow,
think
that'll
he's
do it.
I think he's had more than like 3 ACL tears. Like
Really?
I want to say like 5, but I know it's been at least 3.
That's what amazes me that people ever get in the UFC and become champion, because it's like, what injuries have they been through and fought? Did they just get lucky and never get injured, or
right.
are they just coming back better? Why did you stop fighting?
Injuries, actually. Yeah,
Injuries?
that's like a big. So when I started fighting professionally, like when I was an amateur, I wanted to fight the gnarliest, toughest guys ever, and was fighting them and I was doing well, but I wasn't winning fights. Like I had 2 professional fights, lost them. I think I could beat those guys. Like, but whatever the deal, I had more fights set up, and I hurt my neck really bad once. Like tore some ligaments and stuff in my neck, and I was out for 6 months or 5 months.
How did that happen?
I was training with, God, he's a UFC fighter. He beat Thiago Alves. I used to train with Rick Story. I was training with Rick Story.
That dude's a fucking killer.
So
He
it's
beats Tarek Safadine.
Yeah. So I was training with him for several months, and
I would love to get that motherfucker on, dude. I tried to go through Google and shit and try and find him. He hasn't posted on anything in like years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. He's almost like untraceable, but
I might have him on Facebook. Send him a message.
if he even has one anymore.
Yeah,
but
I remember he used to post and stuff every now and then. Him and there's another guy he was training with that also fight in the UFC. Mike. Anyways, so these 2 guys are training at it was called Brave Legion back in the day, and
Vancouver, right?
Yeah, in Vancouver, and we would come up and train with them, but it was like they would just beat the shit out of us. It was like they were. They had the mentality of like they don't want anybody ever having a sparring match and thinking they did well. And so they would go 100%. They would try to finish you in every match. I remember being there one day and Jackknife, one of the people that used to fight back in the day, got his fucking orbital broken the same day that I got muscles on my neck torn. Like, Rick Story was a nice guy. He didn't like hurting nobody. But Mike Pierce is the other guy. Mike Pierce wasn't as nice.
Oh, yeah.
And you have Pat White telling them like beat the fuck out of him, beat them fuck like. And so Rick Story is we're wrestling. He's beating me up pretty good, and I grab like a single leg, and he ends up like. It's kind of like a switch where he reaches over me and grabs my leg and he picks me up, and so my legs are up in the air and my head's down, and he like kind of like DDTs me, and I land really hard, like twisted my neck. I hear it crunching and ripping in my neck, and I'm like, stop, and then Pat's like, get the fuck out of here, like you can't just stop in the middle of rounds, like why the fuck did we have you come up? And that fucking hurt my. I still have problems with my neck today. Like,
holy shit, dude.
And so I was out for a while for that, and then I got shoulder surgery. It was another time. Like my shoulder was getting really bad. Another time twice actually. So I was always looking to have. There's probably like a 3 or 4 year period where I was setting up a fight, training, getting back into it, get injured. I tore my LCL. One of the times I tore my LCL, I was fucking just standing in the weight room, bullshitting with my friends, and my buddy was laying on his back or sitting on his butt, and he rolls back and doesn't realize I'm right next to him, and he fucking rolls right on my leg and pops my LCL.
You probably had tears, like minor tears already.
No, I don't think so. He rolled on my leg. Popped it bad enough where I go in and have a sports medicine doctor look at it and take MRIs, and they're like, "Yeah, you fucking tore it." It's
I mean, it was probably pre-injured before you just
maybe
laid back on it.
No, I mean,
Or-
he folded it weird. And I wasn't expecting it. And then another time I was grappling and I was doing like some rubber guard shit, and I'm grabbing my ankle and I pull so hard I fucking just rip my LCL apart, just completely separate it.
Oh
I'm
my
I'm pulling
God.
like, and I'm like, and so what happened?
Oh my God, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And so
Oh my God.
I had a fight set up for Costa Rica. I had several fights set up, and then and the whole time this is going on, I'm going to college, doing pre-med and focusing on school, and there wasn't ever a single moment where I'm like, I'm done with it. It was just slowly from the injuries, and I slowly trained less, and I just got out of it. And so
I didn't know you ever trained at Brave Legion.
yeah, I trained there for as long as Brave Legion was there, pretty much. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Really? How did that happen? You get an invite, or did you just show up there?
So before Brave Legion was Brave Legion, it was Extreme Couture. And the second Extreme Couture opened, I started driving from Longview every day to go to Extreme Couture and train with the guys at Extreme Couture.
Okay.
They went out of business, or Brave Legion bought them out, or whatever. That's right when Rick Story was like 6-0 in the UFC.
And he was training at Extreme Couture.
I don't remember if he was training at Extreme Couture or not. I want to say no.
So where did he come from? You have any idea?
So Pat, he was training somewhere in Portland, I imagine, around that area, maybe Eugene or whatever. And then Pat White was in the scene of like throwing fights and whatnot.
Okay.
And so his coach or his manager, his manager is what it was, / coach, was like, of this business, this gym just went out of business. Like, you just won fight of the night. You got $60,000, and you won fight of the night and knockout of the night or whatever. There's $100,000, $120,000 we have. Like, let's buy this gym that just shut down, buy all their equipment, and then they moved into the Extreme Couture.
Okay.
Is how I remember it.
Okay.
And then when they started training there, it was like, fuck, why not? Like I'm a professional fighter. Like let's go up. And so Nick Cunning's always trying to like connect and network and stuff with the fighting community. And so we were going up there and training with those guys and whatnot. And we'd have a bunch of people from Longview come up and get beat up.
So Arsenal was open at the time,
Yeah.
and you guys were just going up there.
Yep.
Gotcha.
We would do that a lot. A lot of times on the weekends and stuff, we'd go to different gyms and in Portland and train with people. And it was the first time I ever got introduced to gi. Nick Cunning has us go to a gym. I don't remember the name, but the guy that's running it, they're all using gi, and I was like, being funny, talking shit, like why you fucking wrestling with your bathrobe on and whatnot. And he's like, put one on. And they're like, let's see what it is. I was like, all right, well, fuck, I'll beat you up the same way. Like,
Yeah.
And the guy fucking chokes me out with a bunch of lapel chokes. I was like,
Yeah.
all right. But yeah, we'd cross train with fucking, Team Quest and just every gym up there. We were always trying to train with different people.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's wild. I remember at Juggernaut, there was guys like Donnie Johnson who would come up from ATT and stuff like that. You
Oh, I
remember
didn't know Donnie was training with ATT.
I'm pretty sure he's
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of ATT. Yeah. And then comes up and trains with Juggernaut.
So yeah, I guess so. Donnie, first time I ever met Donnie, I broke his nose and knocked him out.
He's a lot smaller than you, dude.
You fucking throw on me, and he throws. If you ever trained with him,
I've trained with him, dude.
he trains hard. He when you spar with him, he spars hard.
I got a funny fucking story about him, dude. I was wearing Muay Thai shorts, right? And it was the first time I ever met him, and we were sparring, and he fucking fucked me up, dude. He fucked me up. And then we're all done sparring. At the end of I'm just happen to be standing next to him, and class is over, and he's like, "How long you been doing this?" I was like, 3 months. And he's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm pretty sure me and him were the only ones sparring. I think everybody else was doing something else, but he's like, "Dude, I saw your shorts and I thought you were legit, so I had to fucking go hard
turn
on
it
you."
up?
He's like, "But you're pretty good, dude."
Yeah,
I was like, "Fuck yeah."
Oh, he'd
thanks,
turn
dude."
it up either way if he thought you were new or not.
Yeah.
And there's like that's like a wrestling mentality where you get people that come from high school wrestling. The intensity is so high when you spar, and you don't have that same intensity when you kickbox or grapple. It's
Yeah.
so much mellower, and it takes them a while to transition to that, and it seems rude when you start wrestling or kickboxing with somebody that comes from a wrestling background because they're trying to like fucking take your head off, and you're like, all right, you're gonna be a dick. Like, all right, let's. And that's what happened with him. Like that's what happened with a lot of people that came into Arsenal. I mean, you have the idea, like the exact same idea I had when I came in. Is like, we're here to fuck each other up. That's who was the toughest, and I was the toughest. Like, I would let people. I'd come in to spar somebody I've never sparred the first time, and I would throw lazy jabs, really light kicks, really slow right hands, and to see how you're gonna react. And if you fucking like slip it hard and fucking throw a right hand, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna fucking put all of my anger and all my regret and everything I feel bad for in my life into my right hand, and I'm gonna try to plant that fucker right in your chin and knock you the fuck out. And it would happen. Like,
Yeah.
it would. The only time it didn't happen is when I'd fight other like professional fighters or whatever, and so sometimes we just have awesome sparring matches where we beat the shit out of each other, and then you just love that person after that.
Yeah.
You're just like,
That's wild.
no, yeah. So I actually don't even remember knocking Donnie out. I knocked so many people out. I don't remember. But he brought that up to me years ago, talking about how I knocked him out, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I always remember sparring hard with you." And he's like, the first day I came in,
Where's this at?
Arsenal, when it was in the small, before it moved to the bigger spot.
Yeah.
And I guess I popped him hard enough to break his nose and knock him out. Like, it sounds true to me because
Yeah.
There's
one time I went to the ER, not me, but somebody I knew was in the ER. I don't remember. I was in the waiting room or something. And these two guys I know that I knew fought. I saw them fight at the bar. I don't remember what the bar was called. I was so young. They let me in the bar back in the day.
Kessler's?
But I think Kessler's was closed down. It wasn't Kessler's. It was right across the new bridge.
Guadalajara? No, not Guadalajara. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
In the Longview, yeah.
It was a
this-
Mexican bar.
Yeah, a small bar off to the side. The only time I ever been there was to watch fights. And I recognized these two dudes. And a dude walks in holding his hand. And this other dude's like walking in with him, holding him. And he's like, my grandma recognized him because she works for the juvie. And he's grown up now. It's a grown man. But she's like, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, we were sparring and he broke his hand. And brings him in. They get something, put it in a cast, whatever. They leave. They come back 2 hours later. I'm still in the waiting room. They come back 2 hours later, and he's holding his nose. The same dude that just broke his wrist is holding his nose, and he's like, oh, I broke his nose. They come back to the ER to fix his nose. I was like, what? That was fucking 2 hours ago. You just got your cast on. Why are you still sparring, dude? I couldn't believe it. I was probably 10 years old when I saw that. But
That's
maybe I was 15. I think
sounds
I was
like
15,
something fighters would do.
And it was in the middle of the night. I'm like, are you guys on meth? It's fucking midnight, dude. I couldn't believe it.
Has a fight, gets his hand broken, goes to the emergency room. There's enough time for him to have another fight that night.
I think they were just training. They might have been fighting. I think it was a Friday night, but yeah, dude. I don't think he was fighting in a cast. I don't remember if he broke his nose or his wrist first, but I know he broke his nose and his wrist. But I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah, Donnie was always like talking about breaking noses. I remember Donnie was somebody that never was able to, like, at least when I was sparring with him, able to dial it down. He was always like redlining it, and I always remember thinking like I didn't think he would do well in fights, and he would beat people way better than I thought he would be. He always did way better, and I thought, and there's a couple people like that where I would train with them, and I never thought they were super tough. And I would train with the people they're gonna fight, and I'm like, that guy's gonna beat your ass. Like, but when you're fighting, it's also a different. Elliot Ullman is the best example I can think of it. I didn't think he was garbage, but I didn't think anything.
I think he's still. Where's he training at?
I had him come to my house a couple times. Like,
Is he going to the base in Longview?
Maybe his kid is. He's-
Okay, I thought I seen him.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I
Okay.
think his kid's training there.
Okay.
And man, what a fucking pussy in class. Every fucking day he's always like, my elbow, my neck, oh, you kicked me too hard. Like, why are you going so hard? He would fight murderers and beat them. And I was just like, none of his pussiness would be in a fight. He's just completely, he was the most game motherfucker I've
Wow.
ever, yeah. It's interesting though, like like how different people are in fights, like or can be.
Sure. I remember we were training that. I think it was a right cross head kick after that, and he's like, "Yeah, I knocked like 3 motherfuckers out with that head kick
In a row, in fights in a row.
I remember you
dude.
back in that story because you were there too. But
In a row, dude, and he caught me with that head kick a million times. And I'm like, all right, you're gonna fucking kick. I'm gonna punch you in your own, kick you in your fucking head. You kicking me too hard. Like, don't kick. I'm like, dude, come on, man. No, I just went to Packwood with him. He invited me to go out to Packwood Lake. You ever been out there? It's probably, man, within a 2-hour drive. I can't. I'm gonna go on record right now and say within a 2-hour drive of Longview, it's the best hike you can go on. It's like in the sense of if you want to get out in nature and see some cool shit, like you want to see giant old growth cedars that are as big around as this table, 10 foot around. See old growth Doug firs, and see what the forest was like before we logged it. That's the only place I really know of other than like cedar. There's a couple places where they have a few old growth trees, but have hundreds of acres where it's just old growth. It's so sick. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's a cool place to camp.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Packwood.
Packwood Lake.
Yeah, dude, I'll definitely
It's
look
sick.
into that.
Yeah, he invited me out there. It's cool seeing like, train with people almost 20 years ago and then seeing them later in life and
Yeah, absolutely.
knowing people as kids and then knowing them as adult.
Yeah, it's wild.
Another person I thought was the biggest pussy was Nick Cunning. And I just
Really?
Yeah, he out of all the fighters I've ever trained with, nobody has improved more and became tougher from what their original set point was to where they made it. Like,
Wow.
yeah, he again, he's always a pussy. He gets hurt in class all the time. He's always whining and stuff, but he fought professionally and he fucking beat some people up, man. Like, he really studied striking and really studied jiu-jitsu hard and became really good at it. Became really good at like technique and timing and rhythm, and he took it seriously. And yeah, another guy that fucking.
Who was in his corner when he was fighting? Where's he out of? Where did he train at before? Because he was a coach at Arsenal, right?
Yeah, so the very first place I trained at was Evolution, right next to Bob's, on the corner of Bob's, in 2005.
What happened to that place?
So I don't know the story exactly, but this is kind of what I remember. I think Benji and Dwayne Oliver and Adam Oliver were running it. And I don't think they made enough money to keep it going. So it was only around for 5-6 months or something like that. And when that shut down, Nick Cunning, I don't remember training with Nick Cunning at Evolution, but he might have been. But Nick Cunning was like, I want a place to train still. Like, I want a gym. And one way, shape, or form, one of the kids' dads that trained at Evolution worked out at Three Rivers Athletic Club and was like, hey, man, I'm close with the owners and whatnot, and I think I might be able to talk him into letting you use the back room, a giant 40 by 60 room.
Oh, really?
And you can, if you bring your mats over there, you could train. And Nick Cunning was the one that was like, let's fucking move them. Let's get some mats and make it a thing. And so we started training at Three Rivers Athletic Club. And that's where like I was only at Evolution for a month maybe or something like that before I started training at Three Rivers Athletic Club. And so Nick Cunning and I think Jerry Castro ran that. So they didn't have anybody else to really be the coaches and whatnot. And Benji would come in, Dwayne Oliver, another guy that's like a black belt, a really good professional fighter. He's badass. And they would help teach class, but it was Nick Cunning and Jerry Castro running it. And so they did that for a while, and then I don't know the story, but Jerry Castro wasn't what he wanted or whatever, and so he told the owners like, we're not gonna have fight class here anymore, we're not gonna do this anymore, and he shuts it down. And then Nick Cunning's like, he tells Nick Cunning like they don't want us there anymore or whatever. It tells him some story, and it shut down for a little bit. And then Nick Cunning ends up hearing through the grapevine that Jerry just just abolished it. And so Nick talked to the owners of Three Rivers and was like, "Hey man, like I want to do this again. Like I'm not I don't agree with Jerry." And so he started running. So it was him at that point just running the class. At this point, I remember going up with Nick Cunning all the time up to like Yelm, up to Dennis Holman's gym and training with Dennis Holman. And so Nick Cunning had some amateur fights before I ever knew him, before Evolution. And then once he became a coach and started running the gym, he was like really scared to be the coach of a gym and then look like a pussy and lose and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he didn't fight for a really long time, and it was like maybe 5 or 6 year break, and then he has a couple of professional fights.
Okay.
But I was never in a corner. I would imagine it was like we always had like people from Portland and up from Seattle coming in, and I would imagine it was like Matt Horwich or maybe even Dennis Holman or Dwayne Oliver or like these people cornering him in the fights.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Here's a crazy stat for you, Joe. I've been told that the Tescu outkicked Torre. That can't be true, can it? Look at that.
So whatever happened to Arsenal?
So again, Nick ran the gym only because he wanted a place to train. He wasn't really wanting to make money from it. He wasn't looking for anything other than I want to have jiu-jitsu in my life. I want to have MMA in my life. And it was taking a lot of time away from him making money for his family because he has a family. He has 3 kids, I think. And I think pressure from his wife and stuff like, you got to make this more lucrative. And I think he did his best with having fights and doing all these things to make it more lucrative. But he was at the gym all day. He was also, he owned Action Mobile, which was like a car stereo business.
Okay.
Did you ever train? It's on 3rd, right next to the jail, right next to the courthouse. He eventually sold the business or whatever, and we started doing the MMA gym full time, trying to get as many members as possible. It transitioned from something he loves to now he has to make it make sense for his family to make money.
Yeah.
And I don't think it ever made him that much money. And he had to start working full time doing other stuff. And slowly, the less effort he put into making that gym work, the less the gym worked, and the less money it brought in. And I think that's how it like slowly dissolved. It slowly kind of just like went away. Like, but so he eventually closed Arsenal, and then the Action Mobile spot. It's not a big warehouse, but it's a little warehouse. And his dad owned the spot or rented the spot because he runs a insurance business out of it, State Farm Insurance. And so he had pretty much a free place to throw some mats down and wrestle there because they didn't.
Oh, wow.
They didn't because before they would drive cars in there and put stereos and stuff, and then when he didn't have the business in there anymore, he just matted it all up. And so we trained there for a long time, and nobody paid anything. Like He would just have
Wow.
all the killers from Arsenal, all of that, and that's where I spent the most time with Wayne and Ben Manning, one of like Wayne's disciples or whatever you want to call him, like wrestling, and then that slowly dissolved because less and less people would show up, and then you just stopped training there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How long did you lift weights? What the fuck? I have no idea what that just
that
happened.
was fucking wild.
You still hear it?
Yeah, I can hear the. Is it this guy right here? I think it's that guy.
But I don't really know who he is right now. All I do know is that
Oh, it's
he's always unpredictable. A lot of people want to tell me I can't do something. That's probably the worst thing you can ever say to someone like me. Tell me I can't do it.
there we go. We're about to get kicked off
That
YouTube
was
for that.
wild.
Finally, it works, huh? No, it's not supposed to do that.
What was the question?
We're talking about Arsenal. Oh, lifting weights. How
Oh
long you lift
yeah.
weights?
So I started lifting weights really hard in prison, and when I was 16, yeah, I never really lifted before that, and I did that until I was like 24 or 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Prison as in school?
No, I got in a fight when I was at school, and I beat the kid up really bad.
What school is this?
Cascade, yeah. And
So middle school.
I was in middle school. I was 13, and there's this this guy that was just a fucking. He was like a year younger than me, but I think he was like held back. He was just like a big mean kid, a little gangbanger. Like sure his older brothers or family members were like thugging and bugging, and they were all about that fucking shit. And I've always been the class clown, always trying to get people to like me in an annoying way. And he was like, I don't fucking like this kid, and was just a dick to me, man. And always say mean shit and do mean shit. And I remember one day, like, I'm gonna fuck him up. Like I'm gonna beat his ass. Like, and I beat his ass. And there's a school cop there that day, and he was like, "This is so bad that I'm gonna press charges against you." And I got 2nd-degree assault. Like, and so that was at 13, and we go through the court process. It takes months, it takes years, and I appeal it. The appeal takes a couple years, and so I'm 16, and I get a note in the mail saying I have court, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I got my appeal. I'm gonna get a retrial because like my lawyer didn't call anybody up in my defense and stuff like that." Like, and I go to court, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, your sentence and everything you got convicted of stands, and you have to go to jail for a year."
Wow.
Yeah, when I was 16, and so it's no longer jail. So when you get more than a year-long sentence, you go to prison. So jail is like a county thing. So each county has a jail, and then the states have a prison. And so I ended up going to like a state juvenile prison. And
Where was that? Up north?
yeah, I was up in there's like Green Hill.
Yeah.
It's right next to Green Hill. It's called Maple Lane, but they have a couple up in Centralia area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started lifting weights in there because you're just stuck in your room so much, man, and you're like you just want to get out and do shit and whatnot. And I lifted a little bit in there, and then I'm 17 when I get out. I graduate when I'm 17. I started school like a year early, and so so I lifted weights a little bit in prison. I was kind of saying that as a joke, but how I really started lifting weights, there was this guy, Matt Schwartz. It was a senior. It was senior with me in high school, and during my senior year, I was riding BMX bikes at that time at like a professional level. Like I was killing it at BMX, and I just there's something that really rubbed me raw about the way the football players and the wrestlers and stuff would feel good about doing well in state or doing well in like a local competition. And I'm like, you guys are high school athletes. Like, I compete against the best people in the world at my sport. Like, you guys aren't shit. Like, why are you proud about fucking doing well against fucking chumps? Like, and Matt was like, you're not an athlete, man. Like, you don't know what it means to be a fucking athlete. Like, how much do you bench press? He's like, I bench press 255 or 260 or something like that, 275. And he was a fucking short, stocky, strong motherfucker. And I was like, there's nothing you could do that I couldn't do fucking way better. Like, fuck you. I'm like, by the end of the year, I will fucking outlift you on everything. And I became psychotic about lifting weights. And I would show up to school an hour early just to lift weights. And
Just
then,
to prove a point, huh?
yeah. And so I started doing, I did early bird weight training. It's a class before period one. And then my period one was weight training again. And
wow.
And by the and also I was scrawny. I rode my BMX bike fucking as much as I possibly could. So I weighed like 150 pounds soaking wet. And I ended up getting into my, I remember the first time I got on a bench press, and it was like, or first time like trying to max out really hard in my senior year. I don't think I couldn't do 225, like maybe 175. I don't remember the number.
Yeah.
185 wasn't terrible, but like wasn't great. Like I still had a fucking 100 pounds to go before I was strong as Matt. And before the end of the year, I was benching like 330. Like I got fucking yoked and I got strong as fuck. Like, and I remember like taking the class out, I knew I was trying to figure out what what time he lifted weights, and like when he was doing bench press one day, and I got out of class and I was like, hey, like, let's lift weights together. Like, and so he's like, all right, fuck, I'll show you what's up. And so we put on 225, you know, we rep it like he reps it 4, 5, 6 times. And I rep it like 10. I was like, let's put the other 10s on it. Let's put 245. And he's like, all right. And does it once or twice. And I do it 10 times. And then like, let's put another 65 on. And he's like struggling, gets it up. It's 265. And I'm like 5 reps out of it. And let's put more weight on. He's like, all right, what the fuck ever, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
And that was that. But that's when I started like hitting it hard. Like, and then
How did you get so strong? Just lifting weights, or you have some help?
No, so I didn't have any help then.
I know a lot of people that know you. I hear stories, but
I took steroids when I was like 24, 25 years old for a couple years. I took some juice. But up until then, up until I was 24, 25, I never took a single sip of alcohol. I never took one puff of a cigarette. I never took one puff off of some joint. I never did any drug. I thought that shit was the weakest. I just thought it was weak, and I thought it made you mentally weak. I thought it made you a piece of shit. I thought I just had a complete disdain for drugs in every way. My mom struggled with drug use and stuff, and that's like, and even before that, she always made drugs seem like she'd always point people out. You see that piece of shit, that tweaker or whatever. She's like, the reason why their life's falling apart and the reason why they are where they are in life is because of drugs. And I was like, drugs are terrible.
Yeah.
And so all natural, just being filled with piss and vinegar is what being filled with contempt for somebody else is what made me
Really.
But with fighting, it transitioned into like, I realized it only took me 6 months to get good at jiu-jitsu. Like when you have nothing else to do in your life but to think about jiu-jitsu, and that's all you think about, you get real good at anything if you're doing it 7 days a week, twice. Yeah. And so I got really good really fast. And I realized that being strong made me fucking a handful for people that were better than me. And I remember having an idea, like, no matter how fucking good you are at jiu-jitsu, you will never armbar a silverback gorilla. No matter, they don't know any technique, but they're so fucking strong and mean and gnarly that they will fucking rip your arms off. Like, and I was like, fighters didn't have that mentality of like, they really neglected the athleticism part of fighting. What I saw a lot was like technique. And I was like, technique's ultra important, but being a fucking athlete and being strong and being explosive is every bit as important.
Absolutely.
And so I got into powerlifting, and I met a guy. I was always trying to just be the strongest fucker at the gym, and I met a guy that was competing in powerlifting, and I was like, me and you are gonna fucking work out every day. Like we're gonna be joined at the hip. And so he really showed me better technique and how to get really strong. And I started competing in powerlifting as a supplement to being a better fighter.
Wow.
So yeah, I did that I started lifting when I was like 17, really hard. I only did that for a year actually, and I was wrestling and fucking tore my rotator cuff real bad, and I had to get surgery when I was 18 on my right shoulder, and so I didn't lift again until I was like 23, 24, and that's when I met that guy. I started lifting again and whatnot hard. So there was a lot of the time when I was training, I wasn't really, I was kind of scared of hurting myself or like, I just felt it didn't lift much until I was a little bit older. So I actually I lifted a bit when I was fighting, when I was young, 18 or so. And then, started lifting heavy again when I was like 24-ish. But I didn't have a fight because I kept on getting hurt, getting injured and stuff. So, but there's years of me, a couple years of me training where I was lifting and I was real strong and whatnot.
Sure.
So talking about taking steroids, I had this weird epiphany when I was like 24, 23, 24. I was helping so my cousins knew I fought and whatnot. They'd come watch my fights, and they lived in California, and they had a legal grow operation where they could grow 99 plants. And they didn't even smoke weed. They did it when they were kids, and they're all a few years older than me. None of them smoked weed for the last 10 years, but they were like, hey man, we can make a fucking lot of money if we grow this marijuana. And then they realized when they go to sell that marijuana in California at the time, if you have your card and everything, you can transport up to like 16 pounds at a time. And they were two twin female girls, obviously. There were two girls, and they were like pretty intimidated selling this to people because everybody has a card, and it was just sketchy situations and whatnot. So like, hey Nick, if you come help us sell this, just come with us, be like a bodyguard. We'll give you $5,000 for the month, and you can stay here and whatnot. And I was like, fucking
holy shit.
And so I'm hanging out with my cousins, and I see hundreds of pounds of marijuana in this barn drying, and I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, and they were like, you want some? I'm like, nope. Drugs are stupid. Drugs are bad. Blah 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 blah. For my mentality, and I was thinking about it really hard one night while I was staying with them. I was like, why don't I use drugs? Like I know I say it's because in my mind I say it because it makes you weak. Weak people use drugs and whatnot, and I start really diving deep into it, and I'm like, the real reason why I don't use drugs now is because every time I tell somebody that I've never drank or I've never smoked weed, they just give me so much praise. They just think they think that's the coolest thing in the world. Like it's so much harder and so much more of an accomplishment not to use drugs than to have using drugs. And I realize it's like this, it doesn't actually make me a better person. It doesn't actually, it only validates my self-esteem because I set up this hoop that I've always had up, that I was always able to jump through easy and feel good about. But if I do drugs, it doesn't make me a worse person. It doesn't make me a better person. It just doesn't mean anything about my value and worth as a person. And I'm like, I don't want to feel good about myself because of some bullshit artificial hoop I've set up for myself and I'm good at. I want my sense of self-esteem to come from something deeper and more meaningful. And so I remember being like, I'm gonna like, let's see what drugs are about. Like I remember my cousins are like, oh, you want some? I'm like, I don't want to smoke it. I don't want to fuck up my lungs, but make me some brownies or something. Yeah. And they thought it'd be funny. I'm their little cousin to give me to put a gram of keef, in the fucking brownie, and give me 1,000 milligrams of THC plus.
Oh my God! For your first time,
first time ever.
Holy shit!
It
How
was-
did that go?
I was unfunctionably high for 3 days. Like
Yeah.
I remember I'm getting high and I'm there with my girlfriend. She also takes a brownie. They also fucking dose the fuck out of her,
Yeah.
and she's had experience with it. I haven't. We're watching a movie with the family, and everything becomes so funny to me, and I'm like, I'm laughing too much. People are gonna get annoyed about how much I'm laughing, and so I'm like, I'm gonna go into the bedroom and chill out. And so I'm walking to the bedroom, and it feels like I'm stuck in time. Like it just feels like every step's taken forever, and I'm like, holy fuck, man. And I lay in the bedroom, and my girlfriend comes in a few minutes later. She's like, trying to tell me about this thing on her shoulder, and it's scaring the fuck out of her. And she ends up articulating and realizing it was a moth that landed on her shoulder. And she was like, didn't know what to do with this moth being on her shoulder. Like she was scared of it. And then we were just high as high could be. We stayed in the bedroom. We just laughed and rolled around on each other pretty much. And then I take a nap I go to sleep that night, wake up in the morning, and I had to go lift weights. And so I drove my car up there. So take a shower, and in the shower, I'm like, fuck, dude, I think I broke my brain. Like I'm so high, man. Everything is so fucking distorted. And
Yeah.
I get in my car, and I'm having the hardest time figuring out how to turn the car on. Like I can't even figure out how to put the keys in the ignition.
Yeah, you can't think right.
Dude. And I'm like, I'm sitting there for probably it was probably 4 seconds, but it felt like I was sitting there for 15 minutes trying to figure out how to turn it on. I'm like, if I'm having this much trouble turning my car on, I probably shouldn't be driving. Like, and I have my cousin drive me to the weight room, and I had my all-time PR that day on deadlifts. Usually I was maxing out at like 550 or so on deadlifts, and I was repping it for sets of 5 that day. I was just felt like a fucking. Never have I felt more in tune with every muscle fiber and every muscle group in my body, and I was like, this is magical. I wake up, stoned as fuck, wake up the next day, and I'm like, oh no, I'm still high. I'm trying to make some food at the middle of the night or early in the morning. I don't remember what I was putting in the microwave, but I'm putting like Hot Pockets or something, and I can't figure out how to work the fucking microwave. I'm still like, I can't do this. Like I can't, like day 3, I wake up and I'm like getting better, and day 4 I'm fine. But yeah, and so then I was like, why don't I do steroids now? And I'm like, because it's cheating, because you're weak, blah 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 blah. I'm like, what exactly is the difference between a steroid and eating well, or exactly between a difference between a steroid and a supplement I take from GNC? And you start thinking about it really hard, like all of the food you eat and all of what you're doing as a bodybuilder or an athlete is like you're manipulating your hormones to get them in peak the right levels to grow as much muscle as possible and eat as much fat. And I was like, how does like some people are born with 3 or 4 or 5 times level of the testosterone as another person, and if that person takes steroids to get their testosterone to the same level as the other guy that's natural, like how is that cheating? And I was like, it's just a cultural bias that we have. And I was like, let's see how fucking gnarly I can get with some juice.
How was it?
It got pretty gnarly. Yeah.
What are we talking? Just testosterone or what?
No. So the way I did it, I didn't. So I always heard fucking horror stories about all the people at the gym and different gyms around about getting weak steroids or getting bunk steroids, and I was like, how do I get steroids that I know is exactly what it says it is? And so I'm doing research on this, and I find out you can get testosterone and trenbolone as cattle pellets. So when they transport cattle in across the United States to slaughter or whatever they're doing with them, they don't eat well and they're stressed out from being in the truck. So they pump them full of these. They look like vitamins under their flesh, and then it absorbs into them. That shit's legit. It's FDA is regulating it, and it is what it says it is. But there's a fucking convoluted process that it takes to turn that pellet, that vitamin, into a liquid testosterone or Trenbolone or whatever. So I started doing the research. I'm like, if it can be done, I can do it. Like, and I started doing the research. And so I buy cattle pellets and I fucking turn it into bottles of fucking testosterone.
Wow. So you did it yourself.
Yeah.
You never had like bought anything from anybody else, or
Nope.
so your
Nope.
first time you just did it yourself?
Yeah, I made it. I didn't know if I mean, I bought the cattle pellets and then
Yeah.
made it from the cattle pellets. And so I'm doing this, and a few of my buddies that I lift weights with, I'm letting them know what I'm doing. I'm like, I want some stuff shit too. Like, and so I end up, I'm like, it cost me $10 a bottle to make, you know, like for all, after everything's said and done. So I'll give me $10 a bottle. And so there's two friends of mine that we're all doing it, and we don't see each other because I'm up in college in Portland. We don't see each other for like couple months. And then 2-3 months later, we see each other and we're all fucking 20 pounds heavier, fucking yoked out. And we're like, it's fucking working. And so it was testosterone and Trenbolone what I was taking. And Trenbolone is like regarded as the strongest injectable steroid, period.
Yeah.
And it is like.
So it's all about melting down this pellet into.
No, you can't melt it down. So there's a bunch of binders and shit. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's all about getting this pellet into liquid form.
Yeah.
And that's just testosterone, or is that Tren also?
So that was testosterone, and then another one you can get is Trenbolone. So I
Okay.
get them. So the Trenbolone is a lot easier. You just have to use solvents, different types of alcohols, and different stuff like that to break it apart, and then you filter it, and you get the Trenbolone, you put it in oil and whatnot, and so it's easy to get. But the testosterone, they put estrogen in with the testosterone, and if you start injecting yourself with a bunch of estrogen, it will make you fat, it'll make you retain water,
Acne.
It's
gyno.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so you do not want any fucking estrogen with the testosterone. So, but the way they make the cattle pellets, they're both combined, and so there's a process that's a time-sensitive process where you mix a chemical in with it, and you have to wait until it like crystallizes the fucking estrogen out, and then you have to take it out real quick and filter it out, so you don't have it. And then but if you leave it too long, it will start binding to the fucking testosterone, and you actually start pulling testosterone out of it too, and you want to keep all the testosterone. And so it was actually a way more complicated process isolating the testosterone than it was the Trenbolone. And it's like you spend $200 on like fucking 50 bottles worth of it or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and then I was like, there's probably a fucking easier way of doing this. And I figured out. So when I started using it, it blew me up real good. And crazy thing is like my all-time bench max before steroids was something around 380 pounds, about 380.
Holy shit.
I don't remember exactly. And the all-time deadlift max was probably around 500 or something like that. And then when I started taking stuff, within like a 1 or 2 year period, my bench went up to like 380 to like 405 or something like that. So I did get stronger, but I was already so capped out with my strength that I didn't have too much room to grow with the steroids. And I think what happens to a lot of people, if you don't really lift weights that hard, I was lifting as hard as a person could. If you come in and you just kind of like dabble in it and then you start taking juice, you'll fucking shoot up in strength like a motherfucker. But I was already kind of capped out with like what my body would have let me do. So I know there's more steroids than just testosterone and Trenbolone. I'm like, how do people get those? You know? And I end up finding that China makes everything. And these giant companies, multi-$100 million companies, make this stuff by the barrel, like 50-gallon barrel and stuff. And so I started calling them, like start emailing them. I was like, hey, can you send me a sample of this? Can you send me so there's hundreds of different types of steroids: Mastron, Deca, NPP, like Winstrol, Danabol, fucking Anadrol, like. And I was like calling these places, and they're like, all right. And they started sending me sample packets of everything. And so I didn't trust anybody else to be honest about how much they're actually putting in this and whatnot. And so I experimented. I wanted to try all the craziest shit, all the most designer drugs. I wanted to see what they all did. And so there was a couple years where I just like experimented with different ones and whatnot. And yeah, and then I got paranoid, or like I didn't want it decreasing my life expectancy from taking this stuff. And so I had a doctor that I would see monthly. He would take my blood levels to see what my my lipid levels were like, what my hormone levels were like. Let's see if I'm like being safe with like my C-reactive protein, like how much inflammation's in my body. And so I was doing all my steroids with having a doctor check everything out, and everything was good. But at the same time, there's problems that can arise in you. Like let's say you have like a testicular tumor or something like that, and and it fucks up your testosterone levels. I would never know that if I'm taking supplemental testosterone.
Yeah.
And so there's just things that were going on that I was like, nah, I'll just stop it all.
How'd you get off it?
Just stop taking it.
That's it? No restarting, nothing?
No, everything, like from everything I know, like shit restarts. And a lot of people bitch about like their testosterone levels are so much lower than they used to be before they did cycles, but your testosterone levels will always drop throughout your life. And so the research I've seen, it's not, it's negligible. Like it wasn't just steroids, it was like thyroid hormones I was fucking with, and like beta agonists I wanted to see what everything was about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, sure. I didn't realize you were deep in that game.
I don't think you get any deeper.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't
wow,
think
that's interesting.
yeah. But that's what happens when you don't trust anybody and you think you could do it better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. That's wild. I think steroids are increasingly getting popular.
Nah, I fucking hope they do. I just want to see the gnarliest, meanest, most jacked up, ferocious fighters fighting each other.
Yeah.
Athletes.
Yeah.
I want to see the fastest motherfuckers on the planet playing football.
Yeah,
I want to see I just want to, in any sport, I just want to see the gnarliest. I want to see, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wonder if Glory's drug testing.
Nil.
Yeah, hopefully. With Badr Hari in there. I'm pretty sure Badr Hari and Alistair Overeem and shit got popped.
No, I would imagine.
I don't know if they were fighting for glory, but I know they got popped. But
so the cool thing about what they do when they check you, also being deep in it, I was like, how do people pass these drug tests? There's people I know that are juicing that pass drug tests. How does this work? And so when you take a
I've always been so curious about that.
One of the I'm not deep enough, or when I was doing it, it was pre-USADA, pre-Olympic drug testing. And the way the UFC and every other like the NFL and whatnot test people, they piss in a cup and then they check your testosterone to epitestosterone ratio. And so people that are taking a bunch of steroids will have a fucked up ratio. You'll have way more testosterone than epitestosterone. And they're like, if it's more than like, I don't remember what it's 3-1, 5-1 or whatever. They're like, we're flagging you, and then we're doing more testing. And you can just take some fucking so if your epitestosterone is too high, not the testosterone, but if your epitestosterone is too high, you can take ibuprofen, and it stops you from pissing out because ibuprofen's processed through your kidneys, and the fucking little nephrons where it's fucking pulling the epitestosterone out of your blood and putting it in your urine. Those things are all clogged up with fucking ibuprofen. And so the epitestosterone won't go into your urine. So you take a bunch of ibuprofen and then you piss, and your epitestosterone ratios aren't fucked.
It's that easy.
That easy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the same now.
So now with the UFC, they're doing USADA, where they're I don't even
testing you for ibuprofen. I don't think you can take ibuprofen.
No, I think they're doing blood samples and hair samples and other shit.
I know for sure they do piss. I don't know.
Yeah, piss. It's easy to get around, but that's why they wanted it. That's why GSP and these other people they know how to fucking bypass it, and they wanted to do a more stringent, thorough testing. And so,
holy shit. That's crazy because I had no idea.
Yep. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole you go down.
Oh, dude. I would love to get deeper into that. I've always been really into steroids and how they work and what they do.
Yeah, it was a fun thing to do for a minute.
Yeah, dude, I'm a scrawny kid, so I like finding ways to get big.
there's ways. It's a hassle. I mean, I don't see a point in doing it for myself. I just don't give a shit enough. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but, and even back then it wasn't even about like trying to be bigger or stronger than anybody. Was like, I was just curious. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely got bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a couple guys on some juice, and they're pretty big.
Another part of steroids people don't realize is almost all of the strength gains and all this the immediate size gains are from water retention.
Yeah.
And so
Clearly.
when you start, that's why creatine is so effective. If you've never taken creatine, you start drinking a bunch of creatine, you'll in just a couple weeks will start getting stronger on your lifts, because the more water your muscles have in them intercellularly, the harder the muscles will allow themselves to contract.
Yeah.
And so when you start taking steroids, your water retention goes way the fuck up. And so your muscles will allow themselves to contract a lot harder.
Yeah.
And so the second you get off of them, all your maxes will go down because you're not holding as much
Sure.
water. But if you stay on them long enough, you will build new muscle and whatnot, and you will get stronger. But that's like something a lot of people don't realize about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely noticed some water retention in some people.
Big old round faces, big old round.
Yeah,
they
dude.
blow up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure these fights have been fantastic. But
Yeah, I imagine.
I wonder how many more fights. That guy's ranked number 4, and he's fighting a guy unranked. I wish I could hear it. Can we hear it just a little bit? I need to figure this fucking thing out more.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Is it muted?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Cool. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Fancier than you realize.
I wanna make sure it's not coming out of the fucking speaker though. No, it's not coming out of the speaker. Fuck yeah, dude. So we can hear it, and we're not gonna get yanked off YouTube for streaming it. There we go. Slick. Dude, my neck fucking hurts. I never tore ligaments and shit in my neck, but just from doing Muay Thai drills, hanging on each other's neck, dude, my neck still fucking hurts.
You ever get a good stinger where you like pull a muscle?
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I was wrestling ever since I was a kid. I think I got put in wrestling when I was like 5 years old. And then I stopped wrestling to do boxing, and then I stopped boxing to go to Arsenal and do MMA. So I've always been in combat sports. I just had no idea. Like, it wasn't combat sports to me, but
I regret not wrestling back in high school and younger. Like
me too.
It's also crazy to me that so one day when I'm 17 years old or something like that, or right when I very first started doing MMA, still at Evolution, my mom's she's just like me in the sense of like wild and obnoxious and whatnot. And I'm grabbing her. I'm like trying to wrestle with my mom. She's like 5'3", 115 pounds. Like, and I start fucking trying to take her down, and she's like sprawling on me, and she's like fucking doing a quarter Nelson trying to roll me over, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And so I'm wrestling my mom fucking hard in the living room. We don't have anything in the living room, and I stop. I'm like, where the fuck do you know this shit and stuff? And I like, she's like, Nick, I was state champion in school. What do you mean?
What the
And I was like, you were fucking A champion wrestler? And I have never known this?
Oh my god.
Blew my mind. Yeah. So a little of it must be in the genes. Like,
Yeah, clearly.
so I have a bench. At that time I had a bench press at my house and the driveway. And I would lift weights before my early bird weight training class. I would lift weights, and
Holy shit.
there was 135 pounds on it. I was like, Mom, can you think you do 135 pounds? Like, if anybody knows, like a girl bench pressing 135, especially somebody that's 115 pounds, just doesn't. A guy bench pressing 135 at 115 pounds is like, I mean, it's
good.
common, but it's not. Not everybody can do that. And
Yeah.
she gets on it and she struggles, but she fucking puts up 135 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm like, and I think that's also where like my genetics strength came from. Not everybody. There are people that will work out their entire lives and never bench press 405 or 315.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a lot of girls that work out their entire lives and never put up 135. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, I don't know if it's like the connections in the muscle or how where the muscle connects to the bone and the leverage points, or the central nervous system allowing the muscles to contract harder. But there is definitely a genetic aspect to the strength, I believe, with myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but she was a fucking, and I guess my uncles were also studs too in wrestling and whatnot.
Really?
Yeah, and I guess I remember my two uncles one day wrestling in the backyard, and I was like 5 years old, and they were fucking going ham, wrestling each other. And
Wow.
I just never realized it until that day when I was fucking around with my mom. Like,
Wow.
and she was like, "Oh, let me show you all my fucking ribbons and stuff that I got." Like,
Still has them.
yeah, fucking.
Holy shit. That is wild, dude.
I remember watching her getting in a couple fights when I was young. I mean, we're all trailer trash. Like, I come from a trailer, and
Fights, huh?
yeah, man. This one time, my mom, the neighbors didn't put their e-brake on, and the car backed up and rolled pretty hard into our trailer, and smashed in the door, or smashed in the whole front, the bedroom, and they're like, "You're gonna have to pay for it," and they're like, "Yeah, we'll pay for it." And months go by, and they're like, "Oh, well, fuck it." Like, you already patched it up, and they're like, no. My mom's like, "You're gonna fucking give me my money," like. And I remember standing across the street, watching my mom yell at this lady, and she's like, my mom's like, "You need to put your fucking baby down." 'Cause the lady's holding the baby, and mom's like, "Put the baby down, because I'm beating your ass." And she's like, "Fuck you." And my mom's like, "If you don't put the baby down, I'm gonna punch you with the baby in your arms." And she's like, "Fuck you." My mom's like, "Bap!" Like, cracks her, and then my mom starts grabbing her and punching her, and then the lady's husband grabs the baby, and my mom fucking my mom punches her, and the lady grabs my mom's hair.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, "Fine," and starts fucking throwing these uppercuts, just
Oh my god.
beating knocks the lady down and starts and then my dad runs over and is like, "Dan, that's enough. That's enough." Like, and pulls my mom off
my
this lady.
God.
But the lady was, my mom's not big, and the lady was a chunky lady, maybe 200 pounds, like
Sure.
6'6" or 6'8" or something like that. And mom just mangled her real quick. There's another time we were at an apartment complex, and I don't know what the deal was, but same thing happened. Like, my mom punches a lady, and the lady's grabbing my mom's hair, and the lady's like swinging, and I can see my mom like timing the punch while she's swinging, pap, and uppercuts her,
Oh my
swinging her,
God.
and pap, uppercuts her, and the lady just drops. Like, yeah,
Holy shit.
Yeah.
No wonder you're so ferocious.
yeah.
Jesus. It's in your blood.
I think so.
That is wild.
It's
dude.
wild.
Oh my god. Growing up in that environment, no wonder you ended up fighting.
Yeah. The trailer park's tough, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You grew up in a trailer? Would you grow up in houses?
Yeah. I was born, my parents had a pretty nice house. Then my parents split. My mom just kind of moved into apartments. My mom pretty much raised us. We went kind of from apartment to apartment, but my mom worked a lot, so my grandparents kind of raised us, but my mom always like made good money at the time, so
My mom worked at always had a job at the mills, always working all the time, and then
really blue collar, huh?
yeah, she worked at Wana for like 11 years, and then
Really?
worked
That's
at,
not an easy place to fucking work, dude. Dudes can't even work there. I'm telling you.
She worked at Weyerhaeuser or Norpac for a minute.
Wow.
And she was always hungry to like move up, get a better paying job.
Yeah.
And she just worked her ass off all the time. And my grandparents would watch me a lot, and her brothers and sisters would watch me or whatever, get me off of school and whatnot when she was at work.
Yeah.
And she fucking just worked and worked.
Wow. Yeah, my mom worked at I as far as I remember, she just worked at like banks and stuff.
I'd call that blue collar. No?
Blue collar?
Yeah,
At
I
a
don't
bank?
know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I
think it
guess
was
I
all, like-
imagine white collar and blue collar being distinguished by pay, not by like the type of work. But I don't know if that's accurate.
What I always figured it was like blue collar, you get your hands dirty. White collar, you're like dressing up nice. And
Yeah. I guess I don't know what it means then.
Dude, I could be totally honest.
I-
I have no idea.
I have
kinda
no-
just
yeah.
gave that meaning, gave it a meaning, but yeah, it was mostly just like paperwork, I assume, shit like that.
Oh,
shit!
caught him with the toes. He's done.
Holy shit, he's out.
Yeah, that whipped his head hard too. That's something that Israel does, and a lot of these really good kickboxers do. That I'm so scared of doing is like leaning just out of range for a
Yeah.
kick or a punch.
Very popular in Muay Thai.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm scared of it.
I think the same thing, dude. Your distance is off by a hair, and you're knocked
And it
out.
was just a hair, just his toes caught him
yeah,
right on the chin.
yeah, dude.
You see,
Off the clinch.
watch him. Bow. Oh, he wasn't even ready. He wasn't
Yeah,
even leaning
dude.
back to be ready for it or anything.
He did that Elliott kick, the right
Yep.
hand. Kick.
Yes.
Boom. Holy shit.
That's you can't get kicked
Yep,
much
he
harder
did.
than that.
Kicked him right with the toes too. You're right. Boom. Oh, that whipped the fuck out of his neck.
4
dude.
inches, 3 inches different. It would have missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ever been knocked out in sparring real hard?
No, Chase hit me the hardest I've ever been
Chase does that, dude.
hit. Yeah, no shit. I used to spar with Kendall Jackson. He was always pretty light on me, but even him being light is pretty fucking
he's
rough,
a fucking
dude.
animal.
Yeah, dude.
I love sparring with him, man. Yeah.
I'd hate to be arrested by that fucking guy, dude. Kneeling on your back.
Yeah, the hardest I've ever been hit in a fight or in sparring was when I was sparring with Benji Raddick, and I don't know, I might have been professional at the time, or might have right before I went professional, but back in the day when he was fighting in the IFL, Boss Rutan had his team, Anacondas or whatever it was, and Boss Rutan's trained with everybody, and he was like, I think Benji Raddick has the best striking on the planet. I know Anderson Silva's killing everybody in UFC. He's like, I've trained with Anderson Silva, and I also trained with Benji, and I think Benji would knock out Anderson Silva. I think he's a better striker.
I need to go down a Benji Raddick rabbit hole because I've always known about him, but I didn't know much about him.
Yeah, he fought in UFC and shit. Like, yeah,
I know that,
Yeah, he as legitimate as any fighter I've ever trained with. He's badass. I'm sparring with him, and I'm like, I want to beat you up a little bit. Like, I want to spar with you hard. He's a couple weight classes above me, but like, he's not much bigger. You know,
You're pro at 155?
my first pro fight was at 145.
Okay.
And my second one was at 155. But
Okay.
155, I would say. 145's a little bit light for me at the time.
So what is he? 185?
He fights at 185. He was fighting at 185.
Yeah.
He probably walks around at like 210 or something, or
Yeah, I imagine.
maybe a little heavier. And I walked around at like 185.
Gotcha.
But I was super lean, and our frames weren't too different. So we're sparring, you know, the intensity is ramping up, and when I'm sparring somebody really good, I become like a really dedicated counter striker, and I try to be as like unpredictable with my movements and shit, and I try to pot shot you, get little pops off, and get the fuck out of there. I don't throw combinations really. I think it's rare that I'll throw 2 punches in a row. Like it's in and out like a fencer, and sparring with him for a couple rounds, and now it's to the point where I'm popping him hard, and he's swinging at me hard, and he has a really traditional kind of boxing stance and whatnot. And he just downloaded my movements, and he knew I was gonna fucking throw a really lunging right hand and then slip real hard and try to get out of there. And he just throws a fucking uppercut, and I chin check. I duck my head into it as hard as I can, and I remember it sat me. I instantly sit on my butt, and I'm like trying to like stand up because we're doing MMA rounds, but I'm like, even if you knock me down, I need to make sure I'm not getting hit with another big shot. And so I'm thinking like, get the fuck up, move. And I'm like, I'm in slow motion. I can't move well.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he's just gonna fucking tee off on me right now. And he sees that I'm like, I fall over on my side, and I'm like can't get up. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's time for you to take a break, Nick. Like, take a minute. And I'm like, thank you. I've never been hit other than that time where I wasn't able to recover and like move and have my wits about me. Like I couldn't do anything. My body wouldn't do anything I was telling it to do. I was completely numb. I had no it's called proprioception. I couldn't feel in 3-dimensional space where my arms are at. Like if I close my eyes right now, I know where my nose is with my finger, but like my limbs didn't exist and stuff. And I was like fucking retarded. It was, yeah, but that's the hardest I've ever been hit.
Jesus.
He does that to everybody.
Did you ever hear a rumor where Benji Raddick got knocked out at a party?
He's been knocked out a couple times at stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was somebody bragging that they knocked him out at a party, and somehow it got back to me because I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. I could be misplacing the person, but I thought somebody said that he was super drunk or something, and they knocked him out at a party.
I from what I understand, it's happened more than a couple times. Like,
Really?
I mean, if I just walk up and crack somebody and they're not expecting it, you're gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
And also, if you're drunk and get wild and throw some punches, like everybody's dangerous, man. Like,
Yeah.
And so, I've heard the same thing a couple times. Yeah.
I was wondering if it was like, dude, yeah, that's fucking no, that guy's full of shit. I didn't know what was
No,
going on,
I don't think I've never seen it myself personally, but I've definitely I mean know of people that've been around there and seen shit like that, like at the bar and stuff, not even just at parties and whatnot.
Sure. So what's he up to now? Is he like does he like to drink, or what's the deal? If he's getting knocked out at parties, is he a drinker?
I think that's also like 15 years ago is what I'm talking about.
Sure, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But
I've seen him recently in the last few months. He was at Toby's actually. So him and Toby know each other for some reason, somehow, I don't know. And Toby invited him up to come to Wayne's class and do jiu-jitsu with us.
Oh wow!
And so I came up and hung out, but I really don't know what's going on with his life or anything.
Does he look good? Seem well?
I don't know if he's doing well. So
I might have heard that too.
yeah, I don't want to. I don't.
Yeah. Microphones.
Yeah, I just
YouTube.
There's only a couple people I feel like I don't mind running their names to the mud.
Sure.
And fuck everybody that has a negative opinion on other people. Like, dude, life is so fucking hard for everybody, man.
Absolutely.
And I'm just not about shitting on people.
Yeah.
Like, life's fucking hard, man. nobody makes that out alive. Like nobody really knows what to do.
Yeah.
Like nobody fucking asked to be here.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I just have a lot of compassion for people that aren't doing great, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wish the best for that guy, and I
He's
don't
always
know him
been-
at all.
I love him. He's always been a fucking absolute stud to me.
Yeah, that's great. I might have heard some rumors, but again, like I don't remember. Were they talking about somebody else? I don't really remember, but I think I heard something about him. But hearing that he was with Toby and going to Wayne's and stuff like that's cool.
It was cool. Yeah, it was cool seeing him because I hadn't seen him for like 15 years or like 12 years or something like that. And actually, the last place I saw him was at Kendall's place in Centralia or whatever.
Oh yeah.
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 And I remember sparring him there. I remember doing really well against him and being really proud of myself. Like not getting knocked on my fucking ass again. Like,
Yeah.
But he was always been, so not, it's really easy for people not to like me. Like I do a lot of things that are very unlikable. Like I kind of don't well, it's not even that I don't give a fuck if people have the wrong impression of me. Like I intentionally give people the wrong impression. I just think it's like, if you're going to make a snap judgment about who I am and what I'm about by a brief interaction, like I don't give a fuck. Like think I'm a piece of shit. I'll give you all the material you want.
I feel I can relate to that a lot because I feel like people that make snap judgments aren't very good people anyways. So
I just don't fucking like it, you know. And even with like my rambunctiousness, the how I carry myself, he was never rude or mean or never like. He was always just a cool dude to me. Always nice. Like not everybody in the gym likes me, you know.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah. So yeah, he's always been cool. There's another guy named Dwayne Oliver. That when I first came into Evolution, I just didn't know the etiquette. I was an asshole. Like I was rude, and he was like, "Hey man, like come early to class and roll with me." Like, and he would come and he's like, "You don't need to go that hard." He's like, we're not training to like for a fight right now. We're training to learn, and you don't have to train. You don't have to be intense for that. He's like, and you want to be mellow, like, and he's like, that's where you learn your technique. And he really like taught me the etiquette of being a good sparring partner. But he saw himself in me, like how he was rambunctious too, and how like he was a lot to handle, and he really vibed with it and was like had like the maturity and had the care to like just fucking talk to me and not be upset with me and not and it like I feel like I'm a pretty fucking good sparring partner now. Like I'm not like
I can attest to that.
Yeah, like I might break some noses and shit, but it ain't uncalled for, you know. Like I it means a lot to me to make sparring fun with whoever I'm going with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going through this thing with this fucking YouTube channel because I want to do like breakdowns of like UFC or kickboxing cards or whatever, and then do like recaps and stuff as well as like watching them live and shit. But God, sometimes I just feel like I'd be so much popular if I just talk shit about fighters and say they fucking suck because they got knocked out, you know? There's no technique or anything behind it. It's just like total shit talking. I'm like, God,
just entertainment.
it's almost like selling your soul.
Oh, dude,
Because it's not who you are.
No, like, man, it's something I struggle with. Is like just I want to be a genuine person. I want that so bad, and it's like I don't think I'm wired that way. But it's something I value so much in other people. Just being a sincere dude, being genuine, being the opposite of a bullshitter, and like it's easy to be entertaining or tell a good story when you don't have any limits or boundaries on what you can say or what you're willing to say or whatever, or what you're willing to do. But it's not kind of the entertainment I'm interested in.
Me too, but I feel like that's what the majority of people are interested in. For some odd reason, I like watching people that
Is Badr Hari not fighting? Why is he in pants?
Who was scheduled to fight Badr tonight is also here. I know he would like to say a few words.
what the fuck, dude? This is the second. you
I
know, they
wish I
refund
didn't
your
come
money-
over.
They refund your money when you do this. For one, this pay per view is $11, so thank God. I wish I would have fucking listened to that, dude.
Thank you so much. 1 second, please.
Let's hear what he has to say.
You guys came to support a great fight, and I was hugely honored to come out here and fight against Badr tonight. But of course, there is bigger things in the world going on right now. I fully respect Badr's decision.
Badr said he's not gonna fight because there's a fucking earthquake in Morocco.
This is not a business that you should be in if your mind is somewhere else. And right now in Morocco, I think it deserves everybody's prayers. It deserves everyone's attention. And it certainly has mine and my team. So I respect Badr's decision. I respect Glory. And
I don't
thank you so
respect
much
it.
for having me.
Bro, the one fight we were gonna watch gets
The
fucking
one
canceled,
fight-
and they're both right there. What the fuck?
So I want to say thank you all as always. And
I haven't seen James McSweeney fight since Ultimate Fighter 10, so I was pretty excited.
fantastic. Us.
Yeah, that's not very professional.
Dude, I watched a Badr Hari fight, bought it, watching it live. It was a pay per view. And fucking, there was so many. It was the second round. So I think Badr dropped a guy, and then he got dropped. It was either the first or second round. One apiece in each round, or they dropped each other in one round. It was super close. They went back to their corners, and they were going to come out for the second round. And there was so many fights in the crowd, and people were throwing so many chairs. They had to fucking rush them out, and they refunded everybody their money.
Oh, what?
Dude, everybody, it literally just like panned back. You just see people fighting and people running and shit. And then they just pulled the fighters out.
They're
This
gonna have
is the
another
second
fight.
one.
They're saying they're having another fight instead.
Sarah Musanak,
No, this was gonna fight. It was gonna happen already.
Tiffany Van Soest. That fight is just moments away.
Oh, they just announced. So, dude, you know Tiffany Van Soest?
No, I don't know nothing about
Oh,
her.
dude, she's a savage. They call her Tiffany Time Bomb. She's a fucking savage. I think she's like 115 or 125. She's a savage, but
I mean, if she was fighting men, and she wouldn't be a savage.
yeah, good point. Not a lot of men are
being an
115 pounds. Yeah, dude. They were gonna be the co-main event, so now they're the main event. I wish I would have fucking listened. I wonder if something happened to Badr's family in fucking Morocco or some shit.
I could imagine, like if I was from Longview and
There's a giant earthquake.
no, like let's say what's that over there? Fucking the plant that makes all the
Hassa.
what's that?
Hassa.
No, there's a plant that makes like peroxide and stuff right across some Weyerhaeuser.
Yeah, Hassa.
Oh, okay.
Hassa,
Hassa, yeah, if that blew up and
Yeah.
you know killed a bunch of people, like I might be a little scattered and like
Yeah, but
worrying about family.
But
and-
also, if you're the main event, we've been fucking.
yeah,
you've been
I do
training
think it's
for this,
unprofessional. Like,
It's a little odd. Like James was talking about his mindset lately, and kind of like what you were saying. He a little bit not a quitter, but just like not fully in it. And then now he comes out in pants and says, because he's from Morocco.
McSweeney is Badr Hari?
Badr Hari. And so there's a big earthquake there.
He's looking for a reason to quit.
I don't know, dude. It's just like, it's almost like he called it before it happened.
You see, like, what was it? Paddy Pimblett, his buddy, killed himself like a week before the fight, or like a few days before the fight, and he has a fight. He wins
Oh,
the
yeah.
fight, and he breaks down. And he's like,
Yeah.
"You need to talk to somebody. Talk to somebody."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I can't think there's another fighter that had like his mom or his dad die like the day before or whatever, and they still fight, and they're not the main event or whatnot.
Yeah.
And, like, man, I get it, like, but when I think of the definition of a professional, is like whatever problem comes up, you deal with it.
Yeah.
Like you're a professional. Like,
I don't know. Like, what are you achieving by not fighting?
I don't know if you think I think he's not in it. Like, he doesn't want to fight. Has no desire.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah,
but
it
I think you're
sucks.
pretty spot on. But I didn't want to say it.
I'll talk shit and the same breath agree with him.
Yeah, yeah. it's kind of hard to believe like a fighter is kind of on his way out, but it just is what it is. I wish I would have fucking listened to what he said. I think he was talking about the earthquakes, but
It's a big old belt.
yeah, dude, Glory don't fuck around. Tiff Time Bomb. She's a savage.
Should be cool to get you into the gym one day if you could find time.
Fuck yeah, dude. I would love to.
Get beat up by old man Wayne and Don.
Yeah, I would fucking love to.
We have this guy Travis that's training out of there. Been doing it. So I got the mats in February, and so I've been doing it 3 days a week since February. And Travis has never done any type of combat sports at all, but he used to be like a D1 athlete in college, I think, for football and whatnot. And,
really?
He then he was a coach for one of the high schools, I believe, around here for track and field and whatnot. And so he's been in the athlete, and he works out every day. He's as fit as a person. He's like, I think maybe in his mid 40s or 50 years old or something like that. As fit as a 50-year-old could ever be. And he's 6'1", athletic as all hell. And he comes into class like first day, and what I have done is I'm like, this whole month all we're doing is armbar. Like, we're not doing anything.
Oh wow.
We're gonna armbar all day long, every day at class,
Fuck
until
yeah,
we know what a fucking armbar is.
Yeah.
Until you're doing armbars in your sleep.
Yeah.
And just a few months in, he's a handful now. Like
Wow.
he's like learned the technique, and he's learned he's kind of taken my style of like constricting people. Like when you start wrestling somebody and they move, like you just get tighter and get tighter
Yeah.
and get tighter and tighter until you isolate an arm or a leg or a neck.
Yeah.
It's cool to see he's as hungry as anybody could ever be to learn and get good at it. And it's really cool to have an athlete like that.
That's so cool, dude. Did you ever do jiu-jitsu at Juggernaut
Yeah, I was doing it.
with Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole time Chris was there, I was going to his classes.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you were or not.
And then Chris left, and then
Ryan.
but there's a gap of a few months or something.
Oh yeah. I think I quit going before Chris left. I did. I quit going before Chris left.
So Chris, my first professional fight was against a guy named Pau Pena, Marcos D'Amata. He is a 7-time jiu-jitsu world champion, like 4-time in Abu Dhabi and 3-time in Mundals or jiu-jitsu worlds.
Yeah.
And in Abu Dhabi, he had never lost the match in his
Holy
entire
shit.
career, and won. And he's fantastically good at jiu-jitsu, the most creative, gnarly. Anyways, so he's my first MMA fight, and I beat the shit out of him in the fight. Like, he definitely better grappler or whatnot, but he wins 2 rounds, I win 1 round. What I'm trying to say is, like, I've grappled and fought some of the best in the world at and jiu-jitsu, and nobody has made me feel like I suck at jiu-jitsu like Chris has.
Oh, really?
Dude, Chris fucking murdered me like nobody has. I've grappled heavyweight jiu-jitsu world champions, open weight jiu-jitsu world champions in jiu-jitsu matches and taken it to a draw. Like,
Yeah.
he had this completely changed my style. Like, I'm if you met me the day before and grappled me the day before I met Chris, and then like the day after, like he didn't move much. He would grab you, you'd lock up in whatever position, and he would just the most slow, methodical tightening. And where other people have done the same thing to me, they didn't do it in such a way where I wasn't able to find a little gap to yank an arm out or a little gap to move and make it a scramble. I was never able to make it a scramble with him. I was never able to like get him off me, and he would just submit me every time he would grab me and we'd start locking down to me. Like, I wasn't able, in positions where I didn't think I was endangering because I'd been in this position with everybody all the time,
Yeah.
and I'm safe here. I wasn't safe with him because
Wow.
and so I
I knew he was legit, but I didn't know it was like that.
legit. Yeah. And he's not like a super athletic dude or a super strong dude. Like, and so from wrestling with him, now I've got this developed more of like a constricting style. Now I just do emulate exactly what he does. And it,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, Chris is fucking good. He was a brown belt when he was coaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
coaching us. He's a black belt now, but he was a brown belt when he was coaching us. What gym's he out of?
He was out of Alive. I remember he's training.
Alive
there.
MMA,
Yeah. I think he's
Or
doing his own
Alive
thing.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Went over there and trained with him a couple times. But I'm gonna start training with him again. I'm going back to school at the end of September, so I'll be driving up to Portland. And then while I'm in Portland, like, why not just go to jiu-jitsu?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, awesome. Why are you going back to school?
so I have like an unfinished bachelor's degree. I just have to take like one term. There's like a capstone and a couple like auxiliary classes like to finalize the degree.
Gotcha.
And I want to apply to medical schools, and so you can't really apply to medical schools and whatnot without a degree.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was like balls deep in getting in medical school. So I was taking all the classes, didn't really know exactly the path I wanted. Knew I wanted to be a doctor in some way, but wasn't really like focused on getting into medical school. So I was just taking all the undergrad classes, and then got to a point where like I was doing school so much and doing it for so long, I was like, I'm kind of like I got to a point where for a long time I was like, I just want to get a 4.0. I just wanted 100% in all my classes. I want to have a great GPA, and that's what like propelled me to study and do what I was doing. And then I started learning enough on my own and started like I no longer wanted to write essays that or do things that I didn't believe in, and I didn't like I no longer cared about the grade. I just wanted to write a great essay, and that I started getting bad grades on essays and shit. And I was like,
wow.
Did you read my fucking paper? It was fucking brilliant. The best thing you've ever read in your life. And you gave me a fucking D. Yeah, and it made me hate school.
Yeah.
It gave me a real sour taste, and I just couldn't. So I got bad grades in a few classes, and then I was like, I'm taking a break. So
Oh, wow.
taking a break for the last few years.
Yeah. That's wild. You ever see Saban anymore?
No, I don't see Saban. No, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, I saw him at the Porky's or something a couple months after I quit training, but you guys always seem like you were good friends.
I like him
at the gym.
Yeah,
So
I like his energy.
yeah, he's a cool kid.
Yeah, I've told you the story about him touching Demetrius
Dude,
Johnson's
that's
finger.
one of the funniest stories I retell that story, dude. That's one of the funniest stories I've ever
I'm
heard
glad
in
I
my
got it
life.
on video.
I never saw the video, but you told me about it. I fucking laughed so hard, dude. Oh no, I did see the video.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
on
yeah.
Facebook. Yeah, I did see the video. That's fucking hilarious.
He's sitting there fucking getting his fighters ready for the next fight. I was like, Demetrius, I know this is rude as fuck, and you don't know me or anything, but my buddy is the biggest fan of you, and it would make his life if he could just touch your finger. And he's like, where is he? I'm like, he's right here. And he's like, here. Yeah, it's so funny.
Oh my
Oof.
god.
Woo.
You know Bradley Martin,
Yeah.
big giant. He's supposed to have a grappling match with Demetrius Johnson because he's doing this new thing on his podcast where he has fighters on and says, "Do you think I could beat you in a street fight?" Because he's so fucking big.
Yeah.
He said that to like.
He's the
Devin
big old
Haney.
260-pound bodybuilder dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said it to Devin Haney,
Yeah.
Nate Diaz, And,
Yeah.
basically, all the MMA fans are getting offended about it. So
Yeah.
Demetrius is like, I'll grapple his ass. So that's supposed to happen at some point.
I would fight that guy on the spot. Like,
Bradley Martin?
I'm not even in shaper, and I'm an old, broken, worn out fighter. But if that guy's like, I mean, I would kill you. I'm like, let's fight right here.
To be fair, he doesn't. Jesus. To be fair, he doesn't like say he can fuck him up or anything. He just says, "Who do you think would win in a street fight?"
I think
me or
he
you?"
verbatim says, I would fuck you up. I think we could pull up a clip right now.
Okay, maybe. I think he does the Devin Haney. You might be right.
Yeah, yeah.
Nate Diaz, he was real fucking.
Yeah. But you believe that when you're a big, strong, gnarly dude like that, you
Yeah.
truly believe that you would smash this little guy,
Yeah.
and you might be able to.
Yeah, he's not just a big guy though. I've seen him like hit mitts and stuff, and it's not like he's not like just a big guy. Just to be fair, but as far as like fucking up, just like fighters that are smaller than him is obviously ridiculous. But
I think like I think those MMA fighters might be really surprised. So
sure,
you have a fight happen one time, and MMA fighter knocks him out, takes him out real quick. You have that same fight. You have them fight 10 times or 100 times. The MMA fighter doesn't always look so good in every one of those fights.
Absolutely.
Like fighting is so chaotic, and the movements are so quick that you only have such good reaction time, such good timing. Fighting's random. There's a lot of randomness and chance in fighting.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's why everybody's scary to me, man. Like I have the idea in my mind. Like I have the confidence. Like it's gonna be. It's not going to be calm that I'm going to find somebody that I think is meaner, tougher, or better than me at fighting. But at the same time, like I know a guy that's never been in a fight in his entire life starts throwing some fucking ham hocks at me, he's gonna hurt me,
Yeah.
like and knock me
Yeah.
out. I could look silly. Like
Yeah, I know.
I always end up going to grappling and like street fights. Like it's so much safer. Like you have so much more control,
Yeah.
and you take a lot of that randomness out.
Yeah, and most people are lost in a world that you're fluent.
They don't.
in.
Yeah, they just try to stand up and get away from me, and they
Yeah.
extend their arms and give.
Yep.
They let me isolate their limbs.
Yep.
I told you about the fight I got in one time with this big Russian dude, and I was choking him, and I'm playing volleyball, and he's in the volleyball court next to us, and his ball comes in our court a few times. He's playing with his buddies.
Where's this at?
Kalama, the volleyball courts on the Kalama Beach.
Yeah.
And my friends that I'm with know him and his friends, but I don't know him or his friends. And I'm just, this is when I'm all jacked and stuff. And then the ball comes over a couple times. I was like, it comes over again. I'm keeping this fucking ball. Like, you better not. I'm trying to be funny. And he's Russian, and he doesn't think I'm funny. And the ball comes over again. I grab it. I was like, this is my ball now. And he's like, he walks over, big, gnarly motherfucker, bigger and gnarlier than me. And he's like, he walks up to me, he looks me straight in the face, and he smacks the ball out of my hand. He's like, my ball. And I'm like, fuck you. And I tackle him. We start fighting. And I put him in a knee bar, and he's like punching me and hitting me and trying to get like scrambling around. And I'm trying my hardest to break his leg. But he was so big and so strong and so Russian that I couldn't, no joke. I had it under my armpit, cranking it. And the whole time he's like leaning over, like trying to hit my face. And like,
Oh my God.
it's like, I fucking never thought in a million years I'd be in this position. I couldn't break somebody's leg. Like,
Wow.
I end up going to, I try to grab a toe hold and whatnot, and we scramble. I end up getting him to a rear naked choke. And I'm on his back in such a way, like my hooks are in, and he's like trying to punch me, and he's like doing all this stuff, and I'm choking, and he's like, he's gargling, and he's like going limp.
Yeah.
And I was like, say sorry, and he's like, no. And I'm like, I start choking him around, and it's scary when you're in a fist fight and somebody's choking you. Like, it's like you feel like you're gonna die. Like you think you're gonna die,
Yeah.
and
you could.
I squeeze it as hard as I can, and then like I feel him like, and I let up, and he's like, And I was like, say sorry with cheese on top. He's like, no. And he wouldn't fucking say sorry. He didn't care if he was gonna die. Like, anyway, I let go. I get up and he grabs his ball and they play. And everybody's sitting there laughing, thinking it's the funniest thing they've ever seen.
That's hilarious.
But so I'm saying that, like, it doesn't always work out the way a fighter thinks it's gonna work out when you get somebody that big and that gnarly. The choke was gonna work, but the knee bar, and also like in those scrambles, he could knee me, he could hit me, he could hurt me, he could and somebody that with the big Bradley or whatever his name is, yeah, the guy was like that big, and somebody that big can hurt you so bad, especially with somebody the size of like that boxer was talking about, and that boxer. I would put my money on Bradley beating the shit out of that boxer. Yeah. Like Nate Diaz, like not so much. Like, but
yeah, I'm with you.
You fought tonight with a heavy heart, knowing what happened in Morocco. So thank you for fighting tonight, and I know you would like to address your fans.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux dire aux fans?
Je suis vraiment désolée.
I have no idea what she's saying.
Sacrifice, je vous jure. Je m'entraîne énormément.
and she feels bad for people in Morocco.
Sacrifie ma vie entière pour m'entraîner. Je prends la route tous les jours. Je vais m'entraîner à Bruxelles. Je suis ma prépa physique. J'essaie de m'en sortir.
It was a good fight.
Donc franchement, je suis vraiment désolée.
Yeah, the same shit.
Pour ma mère, ça me fait beaucoup de peine pour ma mère.
I can't believe they canceled Badr Hari.
Nah, damn. I was so excited to see him fight.
Me too. I almost put on my Badr Hari shirt for that, dude.
C'est comme ça.
Damn.
C'est comme ça.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about my performance. I sacrifice a lot. I dedicate so much to this sport. I train a lot, the physical preparation, everything technical. So I'm extremely disappointed of what I did tonight. But hey, that's life. That happened. I'm especially disappointed because my mother helped me so much, and I wanted to really do that for her. So yeah, I'm really disappointed.
This is such a sweet interview. Sweet, like, post-fight interview.
Yeah, even though she just got knocked out,
Yeah, I like her.
they just stick a microphone in her face.
Et merci à tous les Marocains qui me soutiennent aussi, qui me donnent tous les jours de la force. Et je vous promets de revenir beaucoup plus forte. Et vraiment, je me donne toujours à 200% dans mes préparations. Je sacrifie beaucoup de choses. Mais la prochaine fois, je vais revenir encore plus fort.
Sounds like it'd be hard to talk like that.
Yeah, I think it's hard to talk, period.
Tiffany, before you go, we'd like to give you a little send-off
There's this book I read about
for everything you've done for this sport.
the book was called Through the Language Glass, and it talked about how the colors that civilizations that have a written word, when you start reading when the civilization first starts writing and stuff, there's certain colors that they never talk about. They never mention red. They never mention
Really?
Yeah, certain colors. And so, like, green is always one of the first colors that a written civilization will specify and be like, this is green or this is purple. So a lot of times, again, if you read the Iliad and Odyssey, it's like one of the first novels that we have ever written from a couple thousand years ago. They don't have a word for red. It's all purple. So things they would things that are red, they would refer to as purple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's weird how, like, language develops, and also how, like, for instance, like, there's Old English. There's never, nobody ever changed English from what it was to what it is. All languages slowly morph over time.
Yeah.
And so whatever English is now, 500 years from now, will be almost unrecognizable.
Wow, that's insane to think about.
There's a committee of people that, in another book I read, called, had some title probably. I think it was On Writing, from Steven Pinker. He is on the committee for the Webster Dictionary, and it was interesting how words how words find their way into the dictionary, and you have a committee of people saying, hey, there's a new word being used in culture right now, that's tight,
yeah.
or that's lit, or for instance, a really good one is literally. Literally, if you go back in the dictionary 20 years ago, it meant I am not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is exactly what I'm saying. But now, literally, Like, I'm literally gonna kill you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it no longer has the same meaning as it does. Now they have to put that word back in there and say now there's another meaning to it. But they find the words being used in culture, then put them in the dictionary. And I always thought like words were in the dictionary, and now the culture uses them as
Yeah.
the way the dictionary says.
Yeah.
But that's the opposite.
Oh wow, that's interesting to think about because it's not like people read the dictionary and then
Say
then
this is the
use
word.
the words.
It's also fucking super interesting how there's words that I don't know the definition of, but they've been used in certain contexts so much that I know exactly what the definition is based on the context.
True, yeah.
Even though nobody's ever told me that.
Yeah.
Like,
White collar, blue collar.
yeah, exactly. And so that's a perfect example. Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's hilarious.
Well, that was that.
That was that, dude.
Well, shit. Now what are you doing the rest of your life?
I'm gonna get something to eat and fucking turn on the prelims for the UFC fights.
Oh, that's what's up.
My kids are probably gonna nag me to death to take them somewhere, and I'll probably watch them on this bad boy right here on my phone.
Well, thanks for having me over.
Dude, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You got an open invite anytime.
Yeah, anytime you're having fights, let me know. If I can make it, I'll make it.